78 degrees, unseasonably comfortable in Baltimore for this third preseason game as the Ravens welcome the Buffalo Bills and Tyrod Taylor back to Baltimore. Tyrod Taylor, of course, the former backup, but tonight Marty Morningwig will be looking at his backup quarterbacks, Ryan Mallett and Josh Woodrum, as well as seeing the next step in the evolution, Brian, of that run game. We've been very impressed with the run blocking. Tonight we'll look at that backfield rotation, West, Mizell, and Allen. Time for somebody to separate a little bit?
Yeah, it's going to be running back by committee. Like a lot of teams in the National Football League, we don't have a 300-plus carry guy here, but you've got some diversity with the power and the forward lean of a Terrence West, the explosiveness of Smoke Mizell that we've seen, and more, Jarius Allen's kind of a hybrid between the two. So it's a diversified running back core, and one everybody will have a specific role. Don't even know about Danny Woodhead. We won't see him tonight. He's going to be a big part of the running game too.
And his role will be that third down back, the check down back, the receiver back, the kind of change of speed, change of motion, the veteran back. I think tonight, especially when the first unit is in there, it'll be interesting to see how the younger backs adjust to what we have established as this much evolved run blocking scheme that Greg Roman has incorporated into Marty Morningwig's offense.
Yeah, and as we said in the pregame show, it's going to be a lot of the down kick out, the counters, the traps. They still have the stretch zone in there, as Marty Morningwig told you in the interview. They haven't shown everything just yet. You don't in preseason, but I think we get a sense of what this running game is going to look like with Morningwig and Greg Roman.
When we talk about the importance of special teams, we'll get a look at it right out of the gate as Justin Tucker will kick off. The Ravens won the opening coin toss, elected to defer, and they will get tested early with Brandon Tate as the return man. We are underway in week 3 of the preseason. Tate fields it inside the 10 and is drilled just shy of the 20. Exceptional coverage. Kamale Correa on the hit. Didn't take long for Kamale Correa to get his name involved in the broadcast. A look at the defense for the Ravens tonight. Up front, well, that's the storyline begins with Joe Flacco not playing throughout the rest of the preseason, which, Brian, enhances the importance of this defense under Dean Pease, anchored by Brandon Williams on the defensive line. The linebacking unit, that's where we talk about the importance of Kamale Correa. Can he complement C.J. Mosley? And in the secondary, it should be a great secondary this year with the addition of Tony Jefferson at safety. Sean McCoy, the deep back, he'll get the carry on first down, and he gets the typical Ravens welcome. 2 magic words: no gain.
Yeah, the key to keep Shady McCoy in check is you've got to create that picket fence, we used to call it. Don't let him get started. You've got to have no place to go. A little hesitation, if he gets outside of you, he'll kill you. If you widen, you overrun it, he'll kill you. You got to build that good, solid defensive standard spacing front across the board.
Dean Pease' defense has been spectacular in preseason. Tyrod Taylor's first pass complete to Tate, but only for a couple of yards. And Lardarius Webb right there to knock him out of bounds. If you had to pick the roster today, you don't, but if you had to, he's probably your starter at slot corner, right?
Absolutely. The experience, not only playing in corner, was one of the best corners in the league for a while, and he's got the experience from the safety. You've got to know and see where your combinations come from. He's got the experience to play that slot corner very well.
Bill's looking at a third down on the opening possession. Blitz pressure coming. Taylor's pass way off the mark. Excellent coverage by Jimmy Smith. 3 and out. Job well done by the defense.
Yeah, how often do we see that from this Raven defense? And Dean Pease will tell you, third down conversions, red zone, okay? Those are the keys for him. He wants to be good at it. This Raven team so far in the previous 2 preseason games have been outstanding in the 3 and outs and on third down.
Colton Schmidt will punt the ball. Michael Campanaro awaits. Campanaro will return it from the 25. Weaves his way to the 30, and that's where Ryan Mallett and the Ravens offense go to work. A 54-yard punt, 5-yard return for Ryan Mallett. His performance, if you were to whittle it down to one word the first 2 weeks, Brian, I'll go with solid.
Yeah, solid, if not a little pedestrian, you know, but like we said.
You win Scrabble right out of the gate.
I just don't ask me to spell it, okay? He's been solid, hasn't made the big errors, needs to be better on third down, and like we said earlier on, we need to see some bigger plays down the field. Now, against a Sean McDermott defense, they play a lot of passive zone, could be a little tougher.
Terrence West in the backfield, off the play fake. Mallett has to escape. Finds Mike Wallace at the 37-yard line. That would be a 7-yard gain right out of the gates. Good poise by Ryan Mallett. Good protection from the offensive line.
And just what we're talking about, this is what the coach has been referring to. I think he wanted to take a shot down the field. He had a deep post or crossing route. Looked, no. Now he knows where his outlet is. Stepped up in the pocket and delivered a positive play.
Not the sexiest position to have a job battle from a fan's perspective, but the Ravens have a battle now at center. Ryan Jensen just threw a terrific block that's helped keep Ryan Mallett on his feet on first down. Jeremy Zutov returning at center as well. Terrence West on second down. He's got a hole and he's got the first down across the 40-yard line. A look at that starting offensive line. It is Jensen anchoring it at center. We get our first look at Marshall Yonda this preseason at right guard, and our second look at right tackle Austin Howard. James Hurst moving over to the left tackle position with Ronnie Stanley out, still battling some training camp injuries. The specialists, Wallace and Macklin, the veterans at wide receiver, Boyle at tight end. Ortiz is the fullback, and will look for the insertion at fullback of the rookie defensive tackle Patrick. We give this to West on first down. Not a whole lot of room, maybe 3 yards on the play. We saw Patrick Ricard last week on the road in Miami. We anticipate seeing him a good deal tonight, perhaps even in the first half, blocking for Terrence West.
Well, it's about establishing the roles. When you got a player like Ricard, it's okay, how much can he handle? Because we're not going to spend a lot of time with it during the regular season. You're going to give him a little bit of a package. He would give them a huge amount of latitude in terms of how many tight ends or fullbacks you need to keep on the roster.
He told us when we visited with him this week that learning the play call and the quarterback cadence is the most complicated part. Mallett with time. His pass batted down at the 40-yard line. Sharice Wright, the former Raven corner, deflecting the ball intended for Mike Wallace.
Yeah, Ryan Mallett just a little late on that throw. Needed to come out a little bit earlier. But now we're back into what do we say? Where do you earn your money as a quarterback on third down? Again, that's where it's been a little bit of hit and miss in the first 2 games. Now we're going to find out this is very much a quarterback down when you're looking at 3rd and 8.
Buck Allen in the backfield. Here comes the blitz. Mallett going down the sideline. He's got a man there. Incomplete. Looking for Wallace. Wallace wanted the flag. And again, Sharice Wright had the coverage. No flag. Punt team on for the Ravens.
Actually, a pretty good throw. He had the timing on it. The safety couldn't get there. I don't know if getting bumped, Wallace threw him off enough. Didn't think he was going to get the ball or thought he might get the flag. But I like the timing and the aiming point for Ryan Mallett on that 3rd and 8.
Sam Cook, Pro Bowl punter, will be kicking the ball to Brandon Tate, handling the return duties for the Bills tonight. Sam Cook. His punt fair caught by Tate inside the 15. Job well done by Sam Cook. Scoreless first quarter in Baltimore in the preceding game 3.
Ravens football is brought to you by M&T Bank, the official bank of your Baltimore Ravens. By MedStar Health, the official medical team of the Baltimore Ravens. By Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. By Verizon, the official wireless voice, internet, and cable service provider of the Baltimore Ravens. And by Advanced Business Systems, official business solutions provider to the Baltimore Ravens.
Jerry Sandusky, Brian Billick, live from the Verizon broadcast booth, M&T Bank Stadium. Still in the early moments of this game. Brian, what are your keys to a Ravens performance? I won't even say win, a performance tonight.
Well, we talked about getting more explosive plays. I think we've seen a couple shots that he wanted to take. Ryan Mallett, I'm talking about. We need big plays down the field. Consistently on the offensive line. I don't think we've seen the starting offensive line yet in preseason that we're going to see in the opener against Cincinnati. And then, overall, it's just a matter of what are the roles that people are going to play, whether it's in the secondary, by the tight ends, by the running backs.
Sean McCoy in the backfield. Tyrod Taylor to throw, deflected at the line of scrimmage. Terrell Suggs got a hand on the ball.
Yeah, it's all about pressure, and when you get the ball, Tyrod Taylor's going to get the ball out quickly now. But what do? When you know you can't get home, get the arms up. We got some big, tall players. Immediately, Terrell Suggs right now knows, I'm not getting home, so now I'm going to back off and get my hands up in the ball. That's experienced football by the veteran Suggs.
Puts the Bills at a 2nd and 10. Taylor to throw again. pulls it down. His pass incomplete. Great coverage by Lardarius Webb, and a late flag thrown. Tate the target.
Yeah, I think we're going to get called a little pass interference on Lardarius. It's so tough on that slot man when your receiver bolts away from you on the inside and you got to run to keep up. A little close contact.
Gene Steratore, the referee tonight, sorting out the call. Only one flag thrown. It wasn't up. Check that. 2 flags now thrown. One from the head linesman, the other from the back judge. Clearly not a consensus on this call, though.
Yeah, this is taking way too long to, either it happened or it didn't. Either a guy saw it or he didn't. Now, the ball wasn't tipped or anything, was it? I'm not quite sure what the conversation's about.
Didn't see a tip.
Yeah, the ball wasn't tipped. The hand was in there early. There's no question about that. And they may be questioning whether the ball came down. Of course, if it gets tipped, then it's not pass interference.
Preseason for everybody, including the officials.
2 fouls on the defense. Pass interference, defense number 21. Penalty is declined. Also illegal contact prior to the pass, defense number 57. That penalty is accepted, 5 yards automatic. First down.
Well, they're saying C.J. Mosley on the snap of the ball obviously inhibited somebody coming out. Either one's going to get Buffalo their first down. And Buffalo, their struggle has been penalties. Right now we got the first penalty on the Ravens, but that's been the snafu for the Buffalo Bills in the first 2 preseason games. Sean McDermott's driving them nuts, the amount of penalties they've had.
Tyrod Taylor fumbles the snap and falls on it. So the Bills will have it 2nd and 11 from inside their 20-yard line.
Yeah, this is the type of thing I'm just referring to. I know when you come in with the new staff, there's a lot that has to be done. It looked like the quarterback, Tyrod Taylor, wasn't sure the ball was coming up at that point. Kind of surprised him. I don't know if he was going to try to check, but right there, he's the most surprised man in the stadium. The ball was actually snapped.
Never a good sign for your offense when your quarterback is surprised. Taylor to the ground game. McCoy crossing the 20-yard line, but not very far. Gets 2 on the play. It'll set up a 3rd down and long for Buffalo. And 3rd and long is where Dean Pease and his defense hope to make their impact this year by constantly forcing teams into 3rd and long. You then increase the likelihood of a turnover.
And you do one of 2 things: play good passive defense, come up and make the tackle before the first down, or could give pressure, which it looks like they're doing right now. Maybe get the ball out quick.
Ravens rush 5. Taylor can't escape. He is going to be sacked inside the 15-yard line. And Matt Judon finishing off Tyrod Taylor, who appears to be shaken up at the end of the play.
Yeah, you're gonna watch the edges here. It started with Terrell Suggs coming off the edge, and then Judon cleaned up. He wanted to get a quick throw, just what I was talking about with the pressure, but he couldn't, so he had to pull the ball down. If you can't get the ball off at the top of the step, top of the drop against the Baltimore Ravens, this is what's going to happen.
So Tyrod Taylor being helped by the medical staff over to the Bills sideline. The back of his helmet slammed into the turf at the end of that sack. It was a clean hit, but as Judon flung him down onto the turf, the back of his helmet slammed into the turf, so you have to think they will put him in concussion protocol as the training staff takes him to the Bills bench. On to punt the ball away for Buffalo is Colton Schmidt. He'll be kicking to Michael Campanaro. This one's returnable. Campanaro will bring it across midfield. And he'll take it down to the Buffalo 47-yard line, giving Ryan Mallett and the Ravens offense exceptional field position for their 2nd try against the Bills. On Monday, Coach Harbaugh surprised his team with a visit to the Pentagon as well as a trip to Arlington National Cemetery. Very special moment when Naval Academy grad Keenan Reynolds and Marine Corps veteran Otha Foster placed a wreath at the tomb of the unknown soldier. All of the Ravens players, Justin Tucker, Morgan Cox, Brandon Williams, completely wowed by the event, but all to a man moved by the wreath-laying ceremony, the playing of taps. John Harbaugh said there were a lot of guys who were sweating out of their eyes when they saw that moment unfold. Very powerful team-building experience.
It is when you do something that as a team it is. Some people think that's cliche and trite, but it's not. You go through experiences like that, it does bond you as a team.
Baseball caps on for Terrell Suggs and Eric Weddle, so you have to think perhaps their night's work is done. The offense with a second possession. Great field position starting in Buffalo territory. I'm going to keep an eye on right tackle Austin Howard on this drive, Coach, to see how he performs in his second play. Patrick Ricard in at fullback leading the way. And the run game with Terrence West on the carry will get about 3.5 on first down. So Ricard at fullback. How did Austin Howard do at right tackle? Let's take a look.
Yeah, and you know, you go to the beef. This is a straight ISO play. It's as simple as a screwdriver. We can talk about the counters and the trap and the stretch zone. Sometimes you just got to have the ability to go right downhill. That's what they've tried there behind the big Austin Howard.
Now Mallett will empty the backfield and go 5 wide. Quick release over the middle. He's got his man Smoke Mizell. Spins inside the 30 with a Ravens first down.
And this is the kind of play that the Ravens are hoping to get out of a Smoke Mizell, out of a Danny Woodhead. Nice job by Ryan Mallett, excuse me. He had this shot a couple times in week 1 against Washington, couldn't quite execute it, right into the hole. He knew exactly where it was going. He saw there was a void in that zone, got the ball off, and threw the ball in a very accurate way that allowed Smoke Mizell to get a full head of steam heading down the field.
Bill's defensive lineman, Adolphus Washington, shaken up on the play to go back to that completion. You see precision from your quarterback. That's a step in the right direction. But what you really like to see is Smoke Mizell playing the role of Danny Woodhead in space.
Yeah, and those extended handoffs we talked about. Not an exotic throw, not a lot of complication to it in terms of scheming. But you've got somebody, and what's this? We talked in the opener. Numbers and angles. Okay, if you can't get superior numbers and I can't get superior angles, how about matchups? And with Smoke Mizell against whether it's a linebacker or a safety with that quickness, that's got to be a pretty good matchup.
Ravens get the fresh set of downs. Power formation. Boyle, the tight end, on the move. Give us to West, and not a lot there. He'll get back to the line of scrimmage, maybe half a yard.
Yeah, right now Buffalo's doing a pretty good job with the counter game. The key is you got to pull the trigger. When you see a guard pull, when you see a fullback or a tight end come across the formation, the linebacking level, you got to pull the trigger right now. Now, what that leads to is a good play fake that now with the linebacker stepped up or the 8th man in the box is committed, you can get a throw in behind it.
So unlike the first 2 preseason games, we're starting to get a little bit of the cat and mouse coordinator flow as they get ready for the regular season as well. Off the play fake. Allen on the run. And he'll have to get rid of it as he was running out of room, and that'll set up a 3rd down.
And I always say, you know what? The other guys get paid too. All the things I just laid out. Sean McDermott's a pretty good coach. And, of course, Sean McDermott was with John Harbaugh in Philadelphia. They kind of know each other, obviously. But the defense also understands, okay, we did a good job on the run. Everybody come up and had a good fit. What would I do against my defense? Maybe a little play action fake, get in behind it. So now my call reflects that. Good call by Sean McDermott and the Buffalo Bills.
Mallett will go 3 wide. On 3rd down and 10 at the Buffalo 28. Macklin comes in motion and looks confused. Mallett throws complete under coverage to West, but he'll be taken down far shy of the first down. Jeremy Macklin came in motion. Brian, you don't have to be a coach to know when the receiver has both palms up and he's shrugging his shoulders, something is wrong.
Yeah, and you can see right now. No, I thought you were going to zig. No, I was supposed to zag. Obviously, they're a little confused. And when you motion, you try to create certain matchups. 1 becomes 2, 2 becomes 1. Not to excuse it, but yeah, at the end of the day, tried to salvage it with a throw underneath and enter Justin Tucker.
40-yard field goal try for Justin Tucker. A year ago, 38 for 39. Morgan Cox with a snap, Sam Cook with a hold, and Justin Tucker puts it right down the middle. 7.5 minutes to play, first quarter. The Ravens strike first. They lead Buffalo 3-0. Geico scoring drive. The Ravens go 6 plays, 25 yards, 2 minutes, 21 seconds come off the clock, and Justin Tucker caps it with a 40-yard field goal to give the Ravens the lead. Brian, I really have a gut feeling we just saw a microcosm of the early part of the Ravens season. Stout defense, on offense still finding its way, trying to get comfortable with the offensive line, and a special teams that takes advantage of field position.
Well, and the game keeps shrinking for the opponent's defense. It's 3 and out, punt, go a little bit, punt, nothing, 3 and out, punt. Now you get down, you cross the 50, you get into the 40. Now you're in Justin Tucker territory. So yeah, that's exactly the game plan that right now we see as winning formula for the Ravens.
Brandon Tate takes the kick inside the 5. He'll weave across the 30 before he is banged out of bounds across the 35-yard line. Last week in Miami, the Ravens got the ball to where it would have been a 70-yard field goal try, and Justin Tucker was campaigning hard for the opportunity to kick it from 70.
Yeah, everybody seems to be pretty excited about the idea of hitting a 60 or 70-yard field goal in a game, but I can tell you, to me, the most important thing is making kicks from wherever they send me out there to make them. So whether it's 40, 50, 60, or 70, like, we got a reason to be out there, and it's to make the kick.
Kind of like a kicker with that kind of a mindset. A year ago, 38 of 39. That's what he's been doing. LaShawn McCoy carrying a first down. Flag is down as McCoy is taken down by Tony Jefferson after a gain of about 4. But the Bills will back themselves up with a holding call here.
Yeah, and LaShawn McCoy.
Offense number 64. 10-yard penalty. Replay, first down.
And McCoy's a great back. And like I said, you can't let him start one way and then jump outside of your defense. But as an offensive lineman, it does test you a little bit, because you can see him, you know, he's going to step up into the line. All of a sudden he goes vertical, and a guy that you're blocking, you've got him walled off in the hole. All of a sudden that defender's pulling away from you, and now you tend to grab. And so these offensive linemen are used to it with LaShawn McCoy and the way he runs the ball, but it does put a lot on the offensive line.
Terrell Suggs fooled me with the baseball cap. He's not out of the game. He's back in there for this series.
Just to trick you.
Tyrod Taylor is out, however, after undergoing concussion protocol. It's Nate Peterman who throws complete to the 40-yard line. That's good for 15 yards. Brandon Carr makes the stop down to the field, and Pete Gilbert with more on the Ravens defense.
Yeah, hey there, Jerry. You know, earlier this week, Dean Pease was asked about the fact, they have the best stats in the NFL through 2 preseason games, and he didn't care about that. He was very pleased, though, the fact that for the most part his defense knew what he was doing and they were playing fast. Terrell Suggs, though, you just mentioned moments ago, after the last drive, he went up and down the sideline talking to his defenders, annoyed with them for they allowing a single first down, even via penalty. So even though it's a preseason game, the attitude for this defense is never relent.
Peterman's pass to Zay Jones, the number 1 draft pick, a number 2 draft pick for the Bills, broken up by Brandon Carr, and that sets up a 3rd down and about 5.
And to expand on what Peter was saying, it may, you said he had the cap on, but keep in mind, this is the last time we're going to see most of the veterans. It may be that Terrell said, you know what, I need a few more snaps. I'm going to have about 60. I want to get a full game. You tell you what, I'm going to go another series because I know what I need to get ready for the regular season, since I'm not going to see a snap next week against New Orleans.
On 3rd down, Peterman's pass is complete to his tight end Clay, who spins out of the Eric Weddle tackle and picks up the Buffalo first down. Charles Clay with a 13-yard gain, and he just muscled his way past Eric Weddle, who will not be pleased at this in the tape breakdown.
Yeah, and that's a strong man on the outside right there. He knew exactly how to play it.
So the Bills offense in Ravens territory for the first time tonight. A little more than 6 minutes left in the opening quarter. Ravens up by 3. Give us to McCoy, running up the middle, trying to bounce it to the outside, and Brent Urban will have none of it. Drops him for a loss of 2.
Yeah, another example of against this Raven defense, and Sean McCoy's been brilliant. You can't let him get started, and so far they have it. He goes to make that bounce move, that second cut. There's somebody there because of that picket fence they're building.
How much of that picket fence is the responsibility of the edge rushers setting that edge and not collapsing in when the running back goes in?
Huge. You got to do your job on the inside, gobble up the blocks, and the linebackers have got to know where to fill.
Kamalei Correa on the blitz. Pass is complete inside the 40. That's Clay, the tight end, taken down at the 39 by Lardarius Webb, and it will be just about a yard shy of the first down with an 11-yard gain.
Yeah, there was pressure off the weak side on that, and I think that was probably a broken coverage. That voided zone and about that 8-9 yard level that normally isn't going to happen. I got a feeling DP's going to show them the film tomorrow and say, wait a minute, one of you needed to be here. Someone rushed them when they should have dropped.
Possibly Correa, who came on the blitz.
We'll be on
3rd down and 1. Flag prior to the snap as Buffalo will back itself up.
Wow.
False starts. Offense number 62. 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
Yards are so hard to get against the caliber of defense of the Baltimore Ravens. You turn a 3rd and 1 into a 3rd and 6. You better hope you get this, because you don't want to come off to the sideline and face the coaches offensively if you don't now convert on a 3rd and 6 rather than a 3rd and 1.
Jimmy Smith riling up the crowd. Defense trying to get off the field.
It's like pressure.
Nathan Peterman facing that pressure. He's hit, and it's intercepted by C.J. Mosley at the 43-yard line of the Ravens. Darius Smith brought the pressure, and they will rule the ball hit the ground. No interception for Mosley. And the punt team will have to come on for Buffalo.
Yeah, nice play by Smith. He just literally overpowered the man. It's a little bit of a jailbreak. They brought the pressure that we talked about. Now you're going to see him just come off that try and just literally overpower his man, getting into the quarterback's face. Last thing the quarterback wants to do is have that ball come out limp the way it did. He's lucky it wasn't an interception.
Defensive players immediately started to campaign John Harbaugh to throw the challenge flag, but the coaches in the booth clearly saw the ball hit the field. No challenge flag forthcoming by Coach Harbaugh.
Yeah, the last thing you want to do is believe a player. I mean, you really do. You want to support him. I got it, and you go, I got your back. And I throw the flag, and the thing bounced twice coming in. I could have swore I had it, Coach.
Coaches are leading with intellect, or hopefully they are, and players are leading with emotion. Bumped by Colton Schmidt. Will bounce into the end zone for a touchback. So C.J. Mosley helping to end that Bills drive. He almost ended it with an interception. A flag is down on that punt back at the 40-yard line. See if Gene Steratore and his crew can get the call out a little quicker than they did earlier in the game.
During the kick, holding, return team, number 16. Result of the punt is a touchback. Penalty will be enforced from the 20 to the 10. 1st down, Baltimore. Timeout.
It's Vince Mailey who committed the penalty. Back to the interception that was not to be. All set up by pass rush pressure as the Ravens lead it by 3. Jerry Sandusky, Brian Billick with you live from the Verizon broadcast booth where the Ravens lead the Bills 3-0. 4.5 minutes left in the opening quarter. The injury of the summer has been Joe Flacco's absence. He will not play until the season opener in September. Brian, there's a high level of confidence that Flacco will be fine by the season opener. But from a coach's perspective, what does he miss not taking any snaps in the preseason?
Well, not the least of which is the interaction with the center, the offensive line, and all that communication that has to go on when the quarterback's pointing out who the mic is. You can understand that, and Joe Flacco's confident he'll get on board with the wide receivers. But Marty Morningwood's got to be, at some point, okay, he's fine, he's going to be fine, he's going to be fine. I got to see him actually do some things. I got to see him. I've got to be very surprised if we didn't see an increased activity this week.
Here's a point of concern. Team Dr. Leanne Curl taking a look at Justin Tucker. On 1st down, Buck Allen will carry the ball out to the 13-yard line. Let's go back to the sideline. Justin Tucker, no idea why he would be being examined by Leanne Curl. We know from Miami that he is willing to go all out and go after loose balls. On this, apparently the last kickoff, he was involved in the tackle. He didn't take the advice from Terrell Suggs to just kick the ball and get out of the way. Buck Allen will carry. Mallet tumbles on the handoff exchange. And a gain maybe a yard to the 15. Let's go back to that previous kickoff. Justin Tucker making a hit that knocked Brandon Tate out of bounds.
Yeah. And hopefully maybe it's just the neck, the way Leanne Curl, the fine doctor for the Ravens, she was tested, looked like an Andy Tucker there on the right. This doesn't look like concussion protocol to me. They would typically go into the new booth that they have. Maybe a little bit more of his neck's a little bit sore.
On 3rd down, Ryan Mallett stepping up in the pocket. He'll run and lunges across the 20-yard line. That should be good for a 1st down. Not exactly elegant, but efficient nonetheless.
Yeah, climbing the pocket. You're going to obviously the pressure from the outside. The backers drop. He sees it split in front of him. He knows exactly where the 1st down is. Wasn't going to take it with that, risk it with the throw. Watch him protect the ball. This is good fundamentals in there. Now put the ball away, maybe slide a little bit, but he wanted to make sure he wanted to get the first down. Had he slid, he may not have gotten the first down.
Which is why it didn't look elegant, because you could tell he was thinking slide and then realized if he slides, you don't get the first down. Screen pass on first down. Mizell weaving his way out across the 30. That's good for 11 yards and a Ravens first down.
Nice play. You're getting a good, solid outside pass rush. Nice timing here. Tackle does a good job. Careful, don't hook him here. Bobby Rainey times it perfectly coming out of the backfield, down the field. Screens can be a big part. Excuse me, not Rainey. But 33 is, Mizell. I should know that. Smoke Mizell.
And the tackle you pointed out, Austin Howard, threw that block.
And to get a guy like Mizell with nothing in front of him, that's a good place to be. Nice little jet reverse here.
Jeremy Maclin on the reverse. Doesn't get far. Maybe 3 yards.
Nice job by Nick Boyle. Setting that up on that little jet reverse. And this is Jeremy Maclin. You're going to see, Raven fans, a whole bunch of this out of Jeremy Maclin during the course of the season. He's outstanding. You remember coming out of Missouri. He did it in Philadelphia for years. Did it for Kansas City until Tyreek Hill started to show up. So the roles changed a little bit. But you're going to see a lot of that this year.
And he has a big void in the passing game that he's going to try to help fill a little bit. Ryan Mallett throws on second down. His pass is complete to Buck Allen for a short gain to the 38-yard line. Jeremy Maclin is a guy we had a chance to visit with this week, Coach. Very impressive. He said consistency is the absolute key. His nickname obviously earned because he does have a very pronounced smile, a very pleasant demeanor, to say the very least. He was the 19th pick in the 2009 NFL Draft, third wide receiver taken, and he is a true veteran.
He was a game changer in college at Missouri, has been in the NFL. This is an 87-catch guy. This is a guy that can be your go-to guy in the offense.
Buck Allen the back on third down, gets the handoff inside carry, and he'll stretch it across the 40-yard line. First down, Ravens.
This is a nice job by Buck Allen. We said you got West, who's the hammer. You got Mizell, who's Smoke, aptly named. And now this is a guy, good, solid. And he realizes right now, I'm going horizontal. Right now, I've got to get the first. Cover up the ball, lower the shoulders. I've got to get the first. I've gone horizontal long enough.
Buck Allen keeps the offense on the field. Final minute of the opening quarter. Give us to Terrence West off right tackle, and West has room all the way out to the 49-yard line on the final play of the opening quarter. Well, the defense suffocating the Buffalo Bills in the opening quarter. Special teams getting the Ravens on the board. Terrell Suggs set the tone in pregame, and then on the first play of the passing play of the game, from there the pass rush knocked Tyrell Taylor out, and it's all Ravens so far. Start of the second quarter of the Ravens Game Day Network, presented by Geico. Ravens in front by 3. Right now, your Baltimore area Burger King restaurants are offering collectible Ravens player cups with a new Ravens player each week, 6 weeks in all. Collect all 6 with a purchase of a large combo meal or a large soft drink. So score big now. Only Burger King for a limited time only while supplies last. Ravens drive started at their 10-yard line. Ryan Mallett and the offense the yard shy of midfield. They will start the second quarter with a second down and short. Buck Allen across midfield. Flag is down. Allen inside the 35 and pushed out of bounds by Micah Hyde. But the body language would say this one's coming back. When the quarterback doesn't walk downfield behind a big gain like that, he's just conserving energy because it's coming back.
Personal foul, illegal crackback, offense number 18, 15-yard penalty, replay, second down.
Yeah, Jeremy Maclin short motioned in off the edge, and they're very, very careful about this. You're going to see him motion into a tight position. Defenders comes in right here and he goes low like that. That's not going to be allowed. From an outside in position, when he motioned in, you cannot go down below the hip.
If he hits him above the waist,
he's fine.
He's fine. So instead of having the ball deep in Buffalo territory, the Ravens are backed up to their 35. 2nd and 17. Mallett wanted to throw a screen. Bills had it red. Mallett has to put the ball in the turf. It'll be 3rd down. If you have some questions you'd like to ask the coach, fire them our way. If you have questions, want to get asked by Brian, hit him at Coach Billick. Put on #RavensBooth, and we'll get to your questions as we proceed throughout the ball game tonight. 3-0 Ravens in front of the Bills, and now the Ravens offense in the least desirable situation for Ryan Mallett, 3rd and long. You said you wanted to see some plays downfield. Is this one of those times?
Boy, yeah, but you got to know the defense is prepared for that. You're likely to see a quick draw here or a dump off to see if they can run without taking a chance.
Mallett with time. Complete to Matthews out near midfield. It'll be shy of a 1st down by about 2 yards. Tre'Davious White had the coverage. Nice throw by Ryan Mallett, but the punt team will come on.
Yeah, and you need to deepen the route. If you're going to, the throw and the catch needs you to get the first, because a deeper pass underneath the zone is likely not going to happen. Nice protection here. Bought him the extra time. Excellent. And then right now he's going to step up a little bit, delivers the ball. Probably need the receiver to deepen it just a bit, but of course the defense knows that as well, and the safety was in there looking for it.
We had an eclipse in the U.S. this past week. Watch Austin Howard pass block. He is a human eclipse. The defender just disappears. Sam Cook's punt, fair caught by Brandon Tate. And the Bills will start inside their 20-yard line. Well, the addition of Jeremy Maclin is so important because the Ravens have an enormous amount of production they have to replace from a year ago. Dennis Pitta and Steve Smith Sr. combined for 156 receptions, more than 1,500 yards, and 7 touchdowns.
Yeah, if you're on a typical 500 throw year, you complete 60%, that's 300. That's half of your production. Now they've got the athletes to do it. Jeremy Maclin, we've talked about Danny Woodhead is now a part of it. You've got the big plays outside with Wallace and Perriman. Throw in the consortium of tight ends and the other running backs as a whole. West had some receptions last year, so they've got the bodies to replace the total numbers. It's just not going to come in 2 players.
Sean McCoy is drilled as he hits the 20-yard line. C.J. Mosley closing the gap.
This is a nice job by the Raven defense. Again, you can't let him get started. You pull the trigger. And now this gets down. It's read and react. That's what a defense is about. Watch how quickly the linebackers transition into coming up, get off the block, and C.J. Mosley doesn't let Shady McCoy get started. This is, again, you're going to come up that quick. Maybe we need a play-action pass to get in behind that second level of linebackers.
On 2nd down, Peterman. The swing pass is deflected by Terrell Suggs for the 2nd time tonight. Suggs getting his hands on the ball and ending the play.
Yeah, he's shaking his head going, no, son, you can't do that to me now. Because I know you pull up quick. Now that you're set, I know I can't get home. There's not going to be enough time. I'm just going to wait and jump up. This is just all veteran move by Terrell Suggs.
Sets up a 3rd down and 7. Ravens defense looking to continue to win the battle of field position. Interesting front here. 7-man front. Flag is down. Peterman's pass complete across the 35. Play will have a 1st down if the play stands. Anthony Levine had the tackle.
Well, the Ravens are hoping they didn't line up off sides. They had a lot of folks on the line of scrimmage.
Illegal formation. Offense. Number 73 was not on the line of scrimmage. 5-yard penalty. Replay, 3rd down.
Again, the things that drive coaches nuts. It's one thing if you don't execute a play. It's another thing if you don't line up in the right spot.
Right. Sean McDermott talked about it. So many of the flags are pre and post snap. You'll live with what happens during the game. Holding, pass interference. Okay, that happens. A little bit it can be a little bit subjective. But if you don't line up right, if you move early, I mean, that's real simple. And it's driving Sean McDermott nuts.
Anthony Levine in as the 3rd linebacker in the nickel package for the Ravens defense.
Pressure, drop out.
Peterman is going to be able to get out of the sack, but drops the ball and finally recovers his own fumble at the 8-yard line. And again, pass rush pressure as Brent Urban first on the scene in the backfield.
Watch him just come right down the gut here. They brought an extra DB from the outside. He beats. It's like the guard was confused. He wasn't sure whether to take the first guy. It always used to drive me nuts. If you see two guys, take the first one. It's kind of like he bypassed Urban to get to him, and the quarterback paid the price.
Colton Schmidt punting out of his end zone to Michael Campanaro. This one has room for a return. Campanaro crosses midfield and will get to the Bills' 46-yard line on the return. Again, good field position for Ryan Mallett after an 18-yard punt return by Campanaro.
Raven fans, you got to check out two great Ravens podcasts. The Lounge takes listeners inside team headquarters to discuss all things Ravens with Ryan Mink and Garrett Downing. And The Man of the Crowd with Sarah Ellison is a multi-episode podcast that pulls back the curtain on John Harbaugh's family. Get them whenever you get your podcasts. I did a podcast with these guys. It was great fun. They have fun with it, and it was good.
They're great listens.
They should. You know, and this really gives you the, like I said, it kind of pulls back the curtain on the team. You get to know them on a more personal level.
Enjoy them both, and now we have a new quarterback in. It's Josh Woodrum, who's going to get a lot of reps against that #1 Bills defense. Woodrum on the inside handoff. Buck Allen slices his way for a yard to the 45. So John Harbaugh told us that some of the backups tonight, like Josh Woodrum, would get a chance to get reps against the first-team defense for the Bills. As Josh Woodrum has looked very impressive, Brian, in the first 2 preseason games. What does he see from a first-team defense that he hasn't seen yet?
Yeah, well, first, he's got to be excited because I'm not dealing with the Cowboys and Indians here like I have been all training camp. I'm going to get, and the rest, keep in mind, this is the first defense of the Buffalo Bills. So this is going to be a good read on Josh.
Off the play fake. Woodrum buys time, sprints his way to the 40-yard line. Backtracks a little bit where Lorenzo Alexander brings him down. Marty Morningwig, and our chance to visit with him this week, so one of the things he does well, 2 things. He makes quick decisions. He makes good decisions.
Good decision here. He sees it split, although don't go sideways, son. No. As a quarterback against an NFL defense, you go straight forward for as long as you can, and then you get down.
Kickers and quarterbacks, listen to the man.
Let's see a vertical shot here. Come on.
3rd down and 5. Woodrum out of the gun. Lawson's got a man open and just let him too far. Mike Wallace was open inside the 15. If that's the regular season, Wallace lays out and makes the catch, I think.
Yeah, it needs just a little bit more. He beat him right from the get-go because now the DB's guessing a little bit too. He says, you need 5 yards. I'm going to sit. No. All of a sudden, nice move by Wallace. Needed just a little bit more air. Woodrum probably got a little bit excited, wanted to get it up and down real quick.
Ravens are going to go for it on 4th down. Marty Morningwig trying to make the most of the snaps he has for his backup quarterback. With Joe Flacco not playing until the regular season opener, depth at the quarterback position takes a very different look and feel this summer.
Let's see if we get another one of those quick angle routes out of the backfield. Oh, baby.
A snap that sails back into Ravens territory. Woodrum has to heave it out of bounds to avoid a huge loss on the play. And they're going to spot him down all the way back at the Ravens' 32-yard line. Josh Woodrum wasn't looking for the snap. It sailed past him. By the time he could pick it up, they're going to throw a flag on intentional grounding all the way back at the 32. So this is going to be a flip of the field.
Yeah, Gene Sarator had to communicate with the other officials.
Intentional grounding, offense #1. Spot foul, loss of down, results in a change of possession, 1st down Buffalo.
Wow. Well, that's not the play you have on 4th down. If you're still in the pocket, and he was, as deep as that ball was, and you can see right here, it kind of surprised me. We saw Tyrod Taylor surprised by a snap count. If you're going to do that, you got to get that thing out of bounds, past the line of scrimmage. You did not. That's what brought about the intentional grounding call.
So a switch of 25 yards in field position. Buffalo takes over at the Ravens' 34. Sean McCoy will get the play fake. Peterman rolls to the right. His pass is incomplete as Jalen Hill applied the stick to the target on the play, Andre Holmes. Jalen Hill getting some reps against number ones for the Bills.
Great timing on this. It's close to pass interference. He sees where it's coming. He waits. He's got to wait. You can't get there too early. Great timing. The ball was a little bit behind him, obviously. Great timing. He shows a great sense for where the ball is and how to play it. We've seen interception. We've seen some tackles. Nice play and coverage there.
McCoy on 2nd and 10, bottled up. He won't get anywhere. Carl Davis, along with Matt Judon, on the stop. I had a chance to visit with Tony Jefferson this week, and he said that Jalen Hill had unique ball skills when the ball's in the air. What's that mean?
Just there's a sense for it. I mean, it goes beyond athleticism. It goes beyond just intelligence. There's football intelligence. There's timing. Just like that play right there. A lot of rookies would have, gotten there too early. Couldn't help themselves put his hands on the receiver. He didn't. He timed it up just right. He's got a good sense for the game.
On 3rd down, flags down, pass complete inside the 30 and down to the 24-yard line. With the reception is Zay Jones. Let's see if the first down stands.
Illegal formation. Offense number 79 is not lined up on the line of scrimmage. 5-yard penalty, replay, 3rd down.
So the Buffalo Bills undermine their best field position of the night.
Twice now. Yeah, you saw the rookie Dawkins do it in an earlier drive. Now you come back and Jordan Mills, the tackle. And the officials, when you got a tackle that's setting a little late, they won't just call. They'll say, hey, you got to crowd out the line of scrimmage. They'll warn them one time saying, you got to get up, you got to get up. If you don't do it, they're going to throw the flag.
Puts the Bills into a 3rd and 16. Peter throws quickly. Complete to McCoy. He tries to weave his way back between the hash marks and he'll only get a yard at most on the play, setting up a 4th and forever. And the punt team comes on for the Bills. So how about that for a defensive stand?
What a great statement for Dean Pease and the Baltimore Ravens defense after a disastrous 4th down play. Gave all the momentum to that first team offense, notwithstanding Tyrod Taylor for the Buffalo Bills, and they respond the way they do.
And they did that with some younger players like Jalen Hill in the secondary. Colton Schmidt's punt. Flag is down, and the punt will bounce inside the 10. The Bills will down it at the 2. But a flag down back at the 45-yard line of the Ravens. Right at the line of, a little bit behind the line of scrimmage. Bills have undermined themselves consistently in the opening half with penalties. Let's see if they do it again here after backing the Ravens up inside their 5.
And this has been the same story the first 2 preseason games. Sean McDermott, we've talked about it. This is something he feels. And what was the knock on the Bills under Rex Ryan? They're undisciplined. We got to, and Sean McDermott is a very disciplined, hard-nosed. We may do less, but we're going to do it right. We're going to line up right. And so far in the preseason, Buffalo Bills have not done that.
Yeah, compared to the Rex Ryan era right now, the Rex Ryan era looks like the Bolshoi Ballet as far as the discipline the Bills have not shown tonight. The officiating crew is taking forever tonight to sort out the calls.
There's no foul for a low block on the play. He's on to the play. 1st down, Baltimore. Timeout.
So the good news, the Ravens get the ball. The bad news, they'll be backed up inside their 5. Beautiful night in Baltimore where the Ravens lead the Bills 3-0 first half. On the kickoff following Justin Tucker's 40-yard field goal, it was Tucker who made the tackle on Brandon Tate, knocking him out of bounds. And then all of a sudden, the team doctor, Leanne Curl, had to take a look at the jaw neck area of Justin Tucker. Let's go down to the field and Pete Gilbert with an update on the Ravens kicker. Pete?
Yeah, Justin Tucker, in fact, went into the locker room then and was further examined. But on his way in there, he said to him, we need to make this quick. And indeed it was. Just about 10 minutes. It came back out. They looked a little more at his neck. And he said he's good to go. The doctors believe he's good to go. Helmet back on. So he's okay, but a week ago he was recovering a fumble. Tonight and making a tackle. They need to get Justin Tucker from doing anything other than kicking the ball.
Well, thank you, Pete. You have to think maybe you let Kenny Allen handle all the kickoffs for the rest of the preseason. Right. In the regular season, that might have been a touchdown-saving tackle. Great.
If I'm John Harbaugh, great. Love the enthusiasm. That's awesome. Now get out and don't ever do it again.
Right. In the preseason, just be a bullfighter and ole him. Just you go by. Well, Josh Woodrum with his back to the goal line has Buck Allen in the backfield. They'll give it to Allen, who slams forward and does not get anywhere. Ramon Humber with the tackle. 2nd and 10. This is a great challenge for the young quarterback. How do you handle ball security? Job 1. Breathing room, job 2. Just get your punter a little bit of room, or can you move the chains and keep the offense on the field?
No, in preseason, and if you're seriously looking at this guy, I want to see him throw in this situation. I want to see if he can handle the pressure, understand where everybody is, know what's at stake putting the ball down the field.
Has 3 receivers and looks to throw. And his pass is complete to Chris Moore at the 10-yard line. He's pushed out of bounds, a yard shy of the first down. All right, Coach, how many do?
Not bad. They did a short little sprint, get away from pressure, running to one side. It's all about timing. You know, Woodrum doesn't have a huge arm, but you don't have to. That's about 5th or 6th on the list of things that you need to play quarterback in the National Football League. Barney Morning says he's smart. He's got good timing, has a sense of the game.
Accurate. Had he been a little bit more accurate on the last drive, the Ravens would have had a touchdown. He's regretting that. On 3rd down, the give is to Buck Allen, and he'll be stopped shy of the first down. A flag is down. And this one is against the Ravens. On the preliminary signal from Gene Steratore.
Holding. Offense number 78. Penalty is declined. 4th down.
Austin Howard, the new right tackle.
Well, we talk about the ability to flip the field position, and the Ravens have done a pretty good job with that. Well, now they're going to have to punt out of their own end zone. Gives this first-team offense of the Buffalo Bills a chance to see what they can do with what should be pretty favorable field position.
Jerry Sandusky, Brian Billick with you live from the Verizon broadcast booth. Sam Cook punting out of his end zone. Brandon Tate awaiting on the Bills' side of midfield. And Cook hits a beauty. Tate fields it inside the 35. Turns one corner. Flag down. As Tate is down shy of midfield. A 14-yard return on a 55-yard punt, but a busy night for the officiating crew.
During the kick, holding, return team number 49. 10-yard penalty from the end of the kick. 1st down, Buffalo.
So if you're going to make the Ravens as a rookie, you're going to likely do it on Jerry Rosburg's special teams unit, and that's what this team has done now. 13 years in a row, an undrafted rookie free agent has made the Ravens roster. To extend that to 14, we anticipate one of these guys making the roster. Brian, maybe all 3. Patrick Ricard, a defensive tackle / fullback. Jalen Hill, who has been impressive from day 1 of preseason. And Smoke Mizell, who's looked good tonight.
And beyond just what they can bring to Jerry Rosburg and the special teams, particularly at Jalen Hill, that these guys can have some roles, on specific roles on offense and defense.
McCoy remains the back. Peterman at quarterback. Quick release to Charles Clay. Clay will be tracked down by Matt Judon after a gain of 13 and a Bills first down.
Yeah, you don't want to see Judon do that a whole lot. I mean, I'd rather see him coming downhill to the quarterback, but you've got to change it up. And obviously looked like he got rubbed on that one a little bit. And right now he's going, okay, that's fine. Now let me go downhill. Okay, I don't want to do that anymore.
6.5 minutes to play in the opening half. McCoy with a gap and closes quickly. And he gets to the 40-yard line, a gain of 3. Bam Bradley, another one of the undrafted rookie free agents. He's out of Pitt. Only started 8 games in college. But Brian, another guy who has shown some pretty good skills at this level.
Yeah, and has surprised the coaches just a little bit. And Bradley is one of those guys, like you said, can show up a little bit on special teams. At the very least, could look very much like a developmental squad guy.
McCoy on 2nd down, trying to get to the outside. Flag is down. McCoy will get about 3 on the play. Price and Bauer.
Offense number 64. 10-yard penalty. Replay. 2nd down.
Bryson Bowser on the tackle.
We talked about the first defense. You can see right here, two-gap a little bit, and that's where the hold comes from. Nice job of two-gapping, holding off the guard, and then flushing flat, forcing him out to the outside. Carl Davis doing a nice job of that two-gap mentality taking on the offensive line. And great job. This is not the starting Raven defense here now. They're doing it. And again, nice job. He learned from Terrell Suggs. Carl Davis now. He says, I was watching. Okay, Terrell, I got it. If I can't get home, I see a quick three-step drop, and I can't get there. How about I just jump up in the air? That's two really good plays. Ball's coming out quick. Nope, I'm going to get up and get my hand out.
John Harbaugh talked about stacking practices. How about stacking plays, back-to-back plays by Carl Davis? That hold, by the way, was against Richie Incognito, a Pro Bowl guard. So Carl Davis doing a nice job. Matt Judon getting some trainer attention, getting his ankle retaped after he had to track down Charles Clay. On 3rd and forever, a screen pass to Shady McCoy. He is buried. Bronson Calfusi on the stop. Another loss for the Bills. The punt team comes on. Yeah,
Anthony Levine all over it as well. This is impressive. I know the Bills have struggled a little bit, but this is not by any stretch of the imagination the first team defense for the Baltimore Ravens, and it's been a total shutdown of the offense of the of the Buffalo Bills from first snap to this last whistle.
6 possessions and now 6 punts for the Bills. Flag down as Colton Schmidt hangs a wobbler. Campanaro fields it 35, brings it across the 45 and out of bounds there on an 11-yard punt return. Flag back inside the 30-yard line. I hope there's a spare set of batteries for the mic on Gene Steratore mic pack, because he is wearing it out tonight.
Illegal formation. Kicking team number 42 is not on the line of scrimmage. That 5-yard penalty will be tacked on to the end of the run. First down, Baltimore. Timeout.
Sean McDermott right now is just trying to be calm in demeanor, but believe me, he's apoplectic underneath that calm demeanor right now.
Ravens quarterback Josh Woodrum knows he's a long shot, but he is motivated by a young man who has beaten the odds his entire life, his 21-year-old brother Chris.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty easy. You know, my little brother, you know, how does he motivate me? Well, I have an older brother also, and you know, us three have always been really close, you know, growing up. And you know, he has Down syndrome, and he's what they call high functioning. And my mom was telling us a story one time that you know, how the reason why he's so high functioning is because my older brother and I never treated him differently growing up. So you know, we don't see him as anything different. He's just our little brother, and you know, it's easy for him to be motivation for me because you know, he goes through everything, and you know, he has success in life, and he's done things that, you know, anyone can do. So you know, that's kind of how I was talking the other day, like what gives me the right to just sit here and, you know, just kind of go through the motions and complain about things that, you know, really I have no right to. So it's easy for me to find motivation for him because, you know, he does everything and, you know, never complains. So, you know, I'm trying to be like that.
False start. Offense number 66. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Josh Woodrum, who has bounced around a little bit in his young NFL career. He has spent time with the Giants, the Colts, the Bears, and the Bills, but he has found some kind of magic this summer in Ravens camp, and he has really been able to shine the first 2 preseason games. Tonight going against the first team unit of the Bills defense. Just missed on a long touchdown pass to Mike Wallace. Now he has to show the ability to bounce back. Let's see if he can put together a scoring drive here with 4.5 minutes left in the opening half. Give it to Smoke Mizell, sweeping to the left, and he won't get around the corner where Preston Brown brings him down. Gain of a yard.
Yeah, the Buffalo Bills have done a nice job defending the running game of the Baltimore Ravens. Sean McDermott, again, defensive guy, played very disciplined front 7 football. They don't take a lot of chances with the secondary. They're going to get the right number count in the box. Been tough for them to get outside.
Looking at a 2nd and 14. And a new center in. Jeremy Zuta, the old center, is the new center. What was old is new. Josh Woodrum stepping up, his pass incomplete. Looked like it was on the money. A flag is down. He was looking for fellow rookie Quincy Adebojo.
Yeah, I think we're going to get a holding on the left tackle here.
Holding. Offense number 74. 10-yard penalty. Replay, second down.
Let's jump in on social media with a question from Twitter for Brian Billick. And this one comes from Jeff Heischman. Wants to know, what's your take on how the running back depth chart should look? I'm presuming he means in September in Cincinnati.
Yeah, we talked about West and obviously Buck Allen, and then Smoke Mizell has shown he's clearly going to be on this team, notwithstanding Danny Woodhead. So it's going to be a good, well-rounded running back core. There's not a 350-yard carry guy in there. It's not an overpowering running group, but just diversity. You've got power in West. You've got obviously Smokes up Mizell, and Woodhead can do some things out of the backfield and some special things. And then Buck Allen is kind of the all-purpose. And we talked about earlier in the game, obviously, with Jeremy Maclin with some of the jet sweeps. So he's going to be a factor as well. So it's going to be a well-rounded running back core, not necessarily overpowering one, but one that you've got enough talent to get done what you need to get done in terms of being, an upper half of the league rushing.
Terrence West, the former Towson Tiger, leading that crew. Ravens looking at a third down. They're 2 of 7 on third down conversions. Flag down. Woodrum screen pass to Mizell. They're going to net maybe a yard on the play. And this one is going to go against the Ravens. The Bills will likely decline it.
An illegal formation. Offense number 78 is not on the line of scrimmage. Penalties declined. Fourth down.
So Brian, as you look at these running backs from a coach's perspective, the challenge, not just that it's not a battle for who's going to get all the carries, because nobody is. I would think the challenge is, you look at a West and a Mizell and a Buck Allen, is how do you situationally place them in your game plan?
And you can't let that be an indicator either. It can't be, okay, when West is in, okay, we're just running counters downhill. When Mizell's in, we're just running draws in the outside. So you got to fight against that a little bit, because you don't want to give a defense an indicator as to what you're doing. Here's another penalty.
False start. Offense number 54. 5-yard penalty. Fourth down.
This is what you expect in the first preseason game, not the third preseason game.
Yeah, and again, the Ravens are rolling through some people here. I get that, and Buffalo has stayed with their entire first group in the first half. But that misalignment has nothing to do with who you're facing. Like we said, pre and post snap penalties is what drive you nuts as a coach.
Well, you used to have a practice segment called alignment, assignment, and technique. You practice where you're supposed to line up. Sam Cook will punt it away. Tate with a fair catch inside the 20-yard line for the Bills with 2.5 left to play in the opening half. On the 44-yard punt by Sam Cook. Ravens fans, this year McDonald's is partnering with the Baltimore Ravens. If you download the McDonald's app, you get exclusive daily and weekly deals. And now try out mobile ordering for added convenience. Well, it's been defense and special teams here tonight, as it has been the storyline throughout this preseason. Sam Cook backs the Bills up inside their 20. We'll see if Dean Pease defense can get the ball back to the offense one more time.
See some conventional offense until we get to the 2-minute break, and then maybe a 2-minute drill.
Peterman's pass is complete to Andre Holmes. He'll pick up about 8.5 on the play. Jalen Hill on the stop.
I got to speed it up a little bit. You want to get one more play into the 2-minute warning, and Buffalo has 3 timeouts left before you have to spread it out and start running your 2-minute offense. So far, so good for Buffalo.
Peterman's pass off the mark. Sheldon Price had the coverage. Stops the clock with 2:10. If you stop them here on third down, do you burn one of your 3 timeouts as the Ravens? Or do you just let the 2-minute warning take care of business and hold all 3 of your timeouts to get the ball back to the offense?
Yeah, you definitely let that happen, because if I'm the Ravens, I want to run my 2-minute offense now, and I've got 3 timeouts as well. That's a lot of time inside of 2 minutes with 3 timeouts in your bucket.
Peterman on third down, his pass intended for Clay, incomplete. The Ravens defense again doing the job, forcing the Bills 3 and out, and that means Josh Woodrum will get to show his skills in the 2-minute drill. Another thing you want to see as a coach from a young quarterback.
Yeah, and Matt Judon on that play, by the way. We talked about how he wants to go downhill. That's a nice job for a big guy like that to go on the inside. But yeah, this is perfect for the Ravens now because they're going to get the ball in decent field position, 3 timeouts, and inside the 2 minute, they don't have to burn one of those timeouts.
Darius Smith made contact with a punter. A flag is down. Fair catch by Campanaro. James Sterator, the referee, doesn't have to
running into the kicker. Defense number 90. It's a 5-yard penalty, results in a first down. This is also the 2-minute warning.
If I'm John Harbaugh, I'm going, Gene, did you actually see him touch him? This one may be a great passing or great acting job right here. Does he actually touch? Oh boy, he should have just held the leg.
With you on the Game Day Network, presented by Geico, where the Ravens lead 3-0, just under 2 minutes to play. The Darius Smith penalty on special teams, running into the punter, more like brushing into the punter, but still a penalty. And that means Ravens fans likely won't see the offense before the end of the break. Instead, the Bills will have their offense on the field here in this third installment of a 4-part play. Ravens defense stellar again tonight, holding the Bills to only 31 yards. Rookies take over next week on the road in New Orleans. First down pass complete out to the 40-yard line. Zay Jones on the reception. Robertson Daniel with the stop. They'll mark it a gain of 9.
This is good work for the Baltimore Ravens now to have to deal with this 2-minute situation in a game that is 3-0.
Peterman's pass batted down. 4th block pass of the first half. And that time Bronson Kaufusi getting his hands on the ball. Talk about a busy young man. Helped his mother campaign this summer, running for mayor of Provo. She won the primary.
He says, I get in this act. I watch Davis. I watch Suggs. I get this. 3-step, can't get there, stop. And this is a long arm man now. That's a lot of arm he can put up there to knock this ball down.
3rd and 1. Michael Tolbert will pick up the first down as he churns the ball out to the 47-yard line. Back to Bronson Kaufusi. He did his Latter-day Saints mission, so he was a little late coming out of school. It creates a much more mature young pro. First down pass, Peterman down the middle. He's got a man open. Clay can't hang on to it. It'll be incomplete. As you look at Bronson Kaufusi, he served his mission in Auckland, New Zealand. That's as far away as you can go on the earth from the United States without coming back. If you keep going any farther, you're actually coming back. His mom won the primary as the mayor for Provo. His dad, a football coach, part of a big football family. And now he is starting to develop into a really good young defensive lineman who, as we have seen, can block the passing lanes. Making Peterman's pass is complete inside the 45-yard line. Coming down with the reception, Nick O'Leary. Bills will take a timeout. Jalen Hill with the pass rush pressure. So we've seen him in coverage in man, we've seen him in coverage in zone, and now we've seen him blitz.
Yeah, and you've got to be able to do that as a secondary member in the Baltimore Ravens defense. This young man just continues to impress.
Bills getting close to field goal range with 1:03 left to play in the half.
Didn't you love the story he was talking about? He wanted to go to Georgia State, I think it was, because they were going to give him meals.
Georgia Tech.
Georgia Tech. Not Georgia Tech. No, it was one of the Georgia schools down there. And his dad said, no, I think you need to go to Jacksonville State. He goes, Dad, but they're going to feed me. Well, we'll get you fed at Jacksonville State, too. Don't worry.
You'll play there. You'll eat here. And he was just, he was like a lottery winner. The fact that an NFL team was going to give him a shot. And it's the only NFL team that offered him a free agent tryout in the rookie camp. He impressed in the rookie OTAs, and he just keeps showing up. Flag is down on first down. Peterman is going to be taken down by Tim Williams after he crosses the line of scrimmage, the 40, so not a sack, but good pressure from the 3rd-round draft pick out of Alabama, or as Keith Jackson used to say, Alabama.
And that was because of the good coverage down the field. Jalen Hill was in the slot.
Offside. Defense number 69 lined up in the neutral zone. 5-yard penalty. Replay, first down.
And we talked about in the pregame about defining some roles in the slot. We think Ladarius Webb's going to be that guy in the nickel package, but we're seeing a guy like Hill has some versatility, not only to play in the slot, but to come off the slot. Because that's part of it too now. When you're in that slot position, the nickel, it's not just a matter of coverage. These nickel blitzes that are so vogue in the league right now, you're going to be able to do that. He's up here in the slot right now.
First and 5, Peterman's pass is complete inside the 30, and down to the 25 is Charles Clay. Otha Foster on the stop. Otha Foster with a big start to the week. He joined Keenan Reynolds for the wreath-laying ceremony at the tomb of the unknown soldier in Arlington, a former Marine. When he started his college football career at a community college, he joined the Marines, was an active member for 3 years. So Keenan Reynolds and Otha Foster knew all of the proper protocols. They were in perfect lockstep with the other members of the military, and it absolutely floored their teammates that these guys were that disciplined to pull off the wreath-laying ceremony at the tomb of the unknown soldier in Arlington. Really powerful as we take a look at Keenan Reynolds and Otha Foster in the blue shirt, along with a member of the Marines. Peterman going for the end zone, and it is broken up. But a flag thrown on Sheldon Price, who had the coverage on Zay Jones.
Yeah, was he playing the man or playing the ball? That's the tough one with the deep throw. It's hard. John Harbaugh can't believe it.
Defense number 27. Spot foul, automatic. First down.
He's looking at the ball, Coach.
Yeah, it's a good throw on the outside. Good timing. Little hand bar there. Yeah, just a little bit. That I think that little lean in with the arm bar. You know, yeah, I'm going to be upset as well. That hand fighting. Looks like he was turning for the ball. I think when he leaned his shoulder into it is when it got called.
John Harbaugh understandably not pleased with that because it gives the Bills the ball at the 5-yard line. And John Harbaugh wants a timeout and will take it with 45 seconds left in the half. The timeout here, I'm presuming, just to get the defense set the way they want it.
Yeah, I wasn't sure whether they had the right people in or there seems to be confusion as to who's in. You don't want to make that mistake down here.
And you don't want to go into halftime trailing after dominating the Bills throughout the first half. Ravens had held the Bills to 31 yards offense prior to that penalty. And now Buffalo knocking at the door with a 1st and goal from the 5. 45 seconds left. John Harbaugh wants the explanation from Gene Steratore. How is that a penalty? Part of the reason you're doing this, by the way, is not just so you can chew the ear on an official, but you want to get kind of your point across in preseason to the officials that how are you going to call this?
Yeah, and I always say, you know, it's hard. Head coaches of the NFL don't have home plate to kick dirt on. You know, to show your team, I'm fighting for you. And whether it's right or wrong, sometimes your team's got to see you do stuff like that to know that you're fighting for it.
Peterman pass complete to the 1. Zay Jones taken down there by Jalen Hill and Peanut Awasu, who keep him out of the end zone. So another thing we've seen from Jalen Hill, the ability to make a tackle at the goal line.
And this is a big little play we used to call. I mean, he had all the leverage here. But these guys understand where they are on the field. You know, again, what do we say about Jalen Hill? He just seems to have that sense.
Give it to Mike Tolbert. Tolbert crashing down to the goal line. Officials converge. Still no signal. And now a touchdown signal. Well, the slowest consensus officiating crew we have ever seen calls it a touchdown. Can't throw the flag because we're under 2 minutes. We're under 10 seconds. But so the booth is going to have to review this.
Correct.
Tolbert was hit by Calfusi.
Yeah, the question is, does it break the plane before his knee hit the ground? It looked like it did. Ball just has to break the plane. Might see it a little bit here. Does that left knee come down? I can't see it there. Again, it's got to be incontrovertible. Nothing we've seen yet to see. Let's see if we can see the knee. Is there any chance it comes down? We're not going to see it there. Yeah, this one's going to stand.
And on the debate about technology, even if you had a microchip in the ball, you couldn't tell because the ball does break the plane. The question is, where's his knee when it breaks the plane? So technology can only take you so far. That's why the officials had to converge. In fairness to the officials, it's fun to pick on officials. In fairness, we watched the replay 6 times and couldn't tell.
Right.
They've got to do it live. It's not an easy thing to do, to say the least. And they're going to take some time to look at it in the booth.
And the reason the slow call, again, far be it from me to defend officials, because they got $75,000 of my money, by the way. And just in case the fans want to know, yes, they do take that money. Okay, that's cash, hard, cold cash. And so it's one of those things where they've got to come together. You always say, well, how come it takes so long to signal touchdown? Because as they come in from the side, did they break the plane? Did they you know, they got to see all the elements of it. Converse, okay, yeah, he broke the plane. Okay, everything's fine. And now it's touchdown.
So one last look as the booth takes a look at the replay. They're looking to see where Tolbert's knee is when the ball does cross the plane. And it's going to stand as a touchdown. And that brings in Stephen Hauschka, who started his career as a free agent tryout with the Ravens. Won a Super Bowl with the Seahawks and delivers the extra point. And with 6 seconds left in the half, the Bills have their first lead, 7-3, in front of John Harbaugh and the Ravens. So one more angle as we see if perhaps.
And taking nothing away from this, good drive by Buffalo. Sean McDermott's got to feel good about his first string offense doing something against this second unit of the Baltimore Ravens.
And it all started with the mistake by Zadarius Smith on the punt block when he ran into the punter. A little thing becomes a big thing. If this were the regular season, it would be an extremely big thing. The regular season starts September 10th on the road in Cincinnati. Cleveland, the first home game. Jacksonville in London. Then back here to play the Steelers. Then out west to play the Oakland Raiders. Why you do all the work in preseason, Brian, because the coaches have memorized the schedule. They know the challenges ahead.
Yeah, and that 3-game run from Jacksonville to Pittsburgh and home, and then on the road to Oakland. That's the one I know John Harbaugh is looking at. Okay, what have I got to do to make sure my team stays ready and fresh in what is going to be a challenging 3 weeks?
And why depth is such a big deal. Kick will be dribbled down the middle of the field, and the Ravens will fall on it at the 24-yard line. Leaves 3 seconds left on the clock, so Josh Woodrum will come on to take the final snap of the first half. Ironically, it's Zadarius Smith who falls on the fumbled kickoff. It was his penalty on special teams that gave Buffalo a chance to extend its offensive possession and eventually score the go-ahead touchdown. And while I understand from a fan's perspective, you don't feel your heart skip a beat because you've just lost the lead in preseason. Again, move forward 3 weeks. Pretend this is a regular season game. Somebody's getting an earful in the locker room at halftime.
Yeah, and if for nothing else, the penalties. The Ravens have been guilty of some penalties and alignments and things like that, just like Buffalo has plagued Buffalo for now 3 games running.
Not going to concede here. Bills will take a timeout.
Buffalo, 30-second timeout.
Sean McDermott saw that Josh Woodrum set up in the shotgun, not going to take a snap and a knee. John Harbaugh wants to give every possible snap to Josh Woodrum to show something. So now Sean McDermott has to reset his defense.
Yeah, I'm not sure what you're going to get out of this. You're certainly out of range for the Hail Mary, unless you're going to try one of those double reverse pitch back, throw it, pitch back to this, that. I just don't know.
On the run drop kicks.
And yeah, here they go. Now they're back into a more conventional take a knee.
Final play of the first half as the Ravens will head to the locker room trailing the Bills after dominating Buffalo for most of the first half. But the bottom line is they trail Buffalo 7-3. First time they have trailed here in the preseason. So a learning opportunity for the Ravens. But we'll look to come out in the second half and see if they can't regain the control that the defense established early in this game against Buffalo. Big hitting, big plays. 7-3 the score at half. Brian Billick with you live from the Verizon broadcast booth. Start of the second half. The Ravens for the first time this preseason playing from behind. They trail the Bills 7-3. The Ravens dominated Buffalo in the first half. It was a late first half special teams penalty on Zadarius Smith for running into the punter, more of a brush into the punter that kept Buffalo's offense on the field, and that will bring the wrath of the coaches out as the question becomes, The little things, just the little things that were irritating probably for the coaches in the first half. But the big question was the quarterback comparison, the countdown of the quarterbacks to the regular season. What did you see from Ryan Mallett? What did you see from Josh Woodrum? Did either push each other? And then, of course, on the offensive line, how was the protection of this third version of the offensive line we have seen here in the first half, Brian?
Well, Ryan Mallett, I thought, was trying to get the ball down the field a little bit. We talked about in the opener that we need to see a little more vertical passing game. I think they tried, but he used good judgment going, okay, no, it's not there. Don't force the ball. Dropped it off, scrambled it around a couple times. So I think the effort was there. I'd still like to see the ball down the field. We saw Josh Woodrum almost get the ball down the field. Would have been a score if he had taken just a little bit off it, put a little bit more air on it. Came back to earth a little bit, couple of snafus in terms of the snap and left them vulnerable. But offensively, again, they're playing the kind of game that it's probably going to be this year. Play to the strength of the defense, field position, try to not make the big errors, notwithstanding the penalties.
We'll start to see some younger players on the offensive line. We saw improved play, it looked to me, from Austin Howard up front.
It was, and again, it takes a little while to get back into that rhythm, and he held up pretty good a couple big plays. When they needed to go downhill, just smash mouth, they went to that right side behind Austin Howard, as big and physical as he is. So we're beginning to see maybe a defined role for him.
And it will be Chris Moore starting things off in the returner role. It was all Michael Campanaro in the first half. Now we'll see whether or not Chris Moore can perhaps put his name into the job battle at the special teams returner role that has been a bit of a hang-up, bit of a question mark for the last year and a half for the Ravens. Start of the second half, Moore will get a returnable ball. Takes it inside the 5, looking for his wedge, and he runs into a wall of Bills instead. Drop him at the 15. Taiwan Jones with the tackles.
And with regard to the return game, I don't know that we've seen anybody that we're going to say, okay, this is going to be a dynamic aspect of what we do. But sometimes, particularly when you're playing good defense, is do I have somebody that can just field the punt, and do I have confidence in that? And that's a lot. But right now, you have a couple guys that can do that. I don't know that we've seen anybody on campus, so to speak, that's going to be that game breaker.
So if you don't have that guy that they can just kind of jump out at you, that means you're not reserving a roster spot for a returner, right?
Yeah, it's going to end up being now just your best receiver or DB that can do that role. Maybe an opening for a guy that might not otherwise be here because you need to get it for that roster spot for that return man.
Woodrum on first down, complete to Chris Moore. That'll get about 7 yards. And I guess if you're going to look for something from Woodrum now, Brian, is how does he move past a first half that was not Disney-esque?
Yeah, and now he's with a group. You know, you're talking about the seconds and thirds of both teams. So now the playing field's a little more even, and he should be able to shine in this situation if, again, he wants to have that impact to show, look, I can be that guy at the very least, the third quarterback or be on the developmental squad. And
at fullback is Patrick Ricard. He is the up back leading the way for Buck Allen. The dive play will yet net only about a yard. We were impressed with Patrick Ricard last week blocking in Miami. Brian, let's take a look at how he does tonight.
It's a lot of beef, straightforward, not a lot. Look at that. Look at the way he plows that. That's exactly what you want when you put a defensive tackle. I'm going to blow up the hole. Not sure if this is the right guy or not, but I'm just going to hit the first opposite color jersey, and I'm going to road grade him out of the defensive line.
I said Marty Morningwig and Greg Roman told him, look, we know it's a little confusing. When in doubt, just hit somebody.
Yeah, Mongo, go downhill. You know, one of those types of things.
Third down and inches. Allen gets around the corner, has a first down and more as he is leveled at the 33-yard line by Jordan Poyer, but he keeps the offense on the field.
Nice job setting this up by Buck Allen, too, the patience. But now you can see the fullback come in. Oh, boy, I'm looking at the other play. I'm sorry.
That's Patrick Ricard at tight end.
Yeah, coming in, nice job, sealing, and then Buck Allen setting it up, and then bouncing to the outside.
Ricard went from fullback to tight end and pancaked his man. Ricky Ortiz at fullback now as Buck Allen runs up the middle across the 35. Got about 3 on first down.
And at this point, this is not about scheme. If Marty Morningwood could draw up the perfect play that has a guy screaming down the field wide open because the coverage broke, or I can trick them with the scheme. Oh, that's all well and good. This is mano a mano. I want to see if this guy can block that guy. We've seen Patrick Carr. Can you lead up in there as a fullback? Can you be at the tight end? Do I have another fullback that can block a one-on-one? Can you hold up as an offensive lineman? This is all about one-on-one matchups right now.
Quan Mazzell in the backfield. Woodruff in the gun on second down. Bills bring a blitz, and Mazzell gets drilled at the line of scrimmage. No gain. Jerry Hughes, first-team player. Good player for the Bills, who are keeping a lot of their ones on the field to make the turn here. Buffalo's going with the old school dress rehearsal approach, where the Ravens personnel front has been 20 plays, 20 plays, 20 plays in each of the first 3 preseason games for their regulars.
Yeah, and at this point now, obviously, it becomes more, we're seeing equitable sides of the ball. I tell you what, we talked about the running back core that has to all do the same thing, so it's not a tip. Mazzell's done some physical things here out of the backfield that I like.
Blitz pressure coming. Woodruff throws complete to his tight end, Larry Donnell. That's the first time we've seen a tight end make a reception tonight. Preston Brown brings him down for a short gain, and the punt team comes on as Woodruff and the offense come off.
Yeah, from the standpoint of the Ravens right now, like I said, it's all about one-on-one matchups, not the least on special teams. Let's watch how the Gunners do. Can they bleed? They're both one-on-one on the outside. Can they beat that one-on-one coverage down the field?
Rashad Ross settles under the Sam Cook punt with a fair catch inside the 8. And the Ravens defense will try to keep Buffalo backed up when we get back. 7-3 Bills in front.
Telecast is copyrighted by the NFL for the private use of our audience. Any other use of this telecast or of any pictures, descriptions, or accounts of the game without the NFL's consent is prohibited.
7-3 Bills in front of the Ravens. 11:01 to play, third quarter. Jerry Sandusky, Brian Billick with you from the Verizon broadcast booth, joined by former Ravens linebacker and now Ravens broadcaster Jared Johnson. Great to have you with us tonight. Jared's one of the former Ravens players who will be with Stan White and I in the regular season. So much like the coach making the transition, what should we tell Jared about? The good news is you're not getting beat up anymore. What's the bad news about being broadcasting?
There's not a lot of bad news. It's pretty good. They don't run you out of town quite quick. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, Jared was one of my all-time favorite players. We drafted this guy out of Alabama. And this skinny, scrawny little, I'm going, where did Ozzie? I know Alabama, but where? And all he did was for his entire career be where he was supposed to be, when he was supposed to be there, doing what he was supposed to be doing. It was a dream.
It's an easy game, right?
If that's
it's made complicated by coaches and dramatic by the media.
There you go.
Nothing to it.
I got it.
You got to stop bashing the media now because you're in I
know. I kind of got some flack in the locker room. Like, oh, you're dark side now, right? Okay.
Well, welcome to the dark side. You know Suggs is going to give you a rift.
I know.
Bills on first down. Mike Tolbert will get the carry. Tolbert run down by Chuck Clark, the rookie safety, draft pick out of Virginia Tech, getting the job done. Jared, you've had a chance to do some scouting for the Ravens. You've had a chance to work in training camp with some of the younger players. Now you're trying your hand at broadcasting. You are truly getting the full football experience.
I am getting a taste of everything that you don't get to experience as a player. The scouting side it really blew my mind. You know, the amount of preparation and the things that goes into putting a team together. And they're not looking into right now. They're not looking into just this season. They're looking into next year's draft, the year after that, and the year after that. And it was remarkable. I learned a lot. I think I learned more about football after retiring than I did when I was.
Yeah, no, I keep telling people it's amazing how much smarter I got after coaching than I was when I was coaching. But you've been involved with this team in a number of different levels. This defense is shaping up to be maybe something special.
I tell you what, the first time I walked out on the practice field for minicamp, just passing the eye test, they got a lot of good-looking, big physical guys. And I don't think we've had that in the last year. Definitely not since the Super Bowl year.
Oh, we got a fracas. Look out.
Here we go. Love it. Let's get it going on.
It was all caused by Matt Judon knocking down the Peterman pass, the 5th batted ball at the line. JJ, Matt Judon reminds me a lot of you.
No doubt.
He came here with his hand in the dirt going forward. He's learned how to go backwards, and now we're seeing him go vertical.
But he can rush. He is a rusher. He can turn that corner. And, I mean, look at him. I mean, he's leaned up. he's gone from like 275 down to 265. He's starting to pick up the passing game, you know, the different passing routes you got to learn that you don't know when your hand's in the dirt. And I tell you what, man, he's going to be a player. He's going to be really good. And the most important thing is Terrell is taking him under his wing now. I mean, he's like a little puppy dog, man. He follows him around. He listens to everything he says, and Terrell is the guy you want to learn from.
And we've seen it here because we see 2 times Terrell jumps up, knocks it. You can't get home, right? Stop, get your hands up.
That's right.
Then Carl Davis does it. Then Kafusi does it. And now that so you can see, okay, I get it. That's okay. That's part of the plan now.
Yeah. So you were a player, obviously had a great career, but you've spent time now with the front office. You've been with the scouts. You've been with the coaches. What have you learned in that time? What do you wish you knew when you were a young player that you know now?
Oh man, I don't know.
Or maybe it's better not to know as much as you know now.
I'll be honest, when it came to scouting stuff, you don't want to know what they're talking about in there.
And now you got to be part of those conversations.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, when they talk about different situations, and I don't know. I learned a lot, but I don't know. I think I learned more my last 2 or 3 years in the league. I just learned to appreciate every play. I learned to even at practice, you know, they throw a deep ball across the field and I'd be a flat player on this side and I'd run 50 yards just to go tag the guy just because why not? It might be my last play, so why not go do it? So I appreciated the game my last 2 or 3 years, and then I love the game now, and I wish I appreciated it as much. You know, instead of complaining about whether you're in pads or how long practice is and all this crap that we deal with, I wish I just appreciated the game more like I did at the end of my career.
Ravens testing out the run defense for the Bills. They won't get far on the carry. A gain of about 2 following a Josh Woodrum incompletion. So now as you take a look at this 2017 Ravens team start to unfold, Brian touched on it. You were part of some great defenses. This is a team that's really much the DNA of the Ravens. Great defense, great special teams. The offense is going to be a work in progress with Joe not playing until the regular season.
It is. You know, I mean, it's built around your edges. You got your corners, you got your outside guys. They have 2 really good interior D linemen, which is going to help. We got depth at every position. One thing that was resounding when I was out of practice was every coach, because I like asking about the young guys that I don't know.
Griff Whalen on the reception to stretch the ball into the 40-yard line and then some. They'll get it down to the 39. That is good for a Ravens first down. Go ahead, Jared.
But every one of them, to a coach, said, yeah, I like this young guy, but we don't know if we're going to be able to keep, you know, and so all they were saying is they have depth. They have depth at every position, which is a good problem to have going into training camp.
Oh, absolutely, particularly at those key areas. And one of the things I'm impressed about as well, and obviously there's a long tradition here in Baltimore, and you're a huge part of that, Jared, but you don't, other than Terrell, you don't have a lot of guys here that it's not like they all started here or they've been here. Talk a little bit about how that gets passed down. I mean, you were part of it, but then there starts to be a transition, and it gets passed on to Terrell, and it gets passed on to some of the younger players. And you have some of the younger players like Brandon Williams and C.J. Mosley are beginning to talk like, you know, we know what this tradition's about. Talk about, and having you around the organization, how that helps.
I am arrogant in one way, in the fact that I tell these guys, if you do things in this organization, to me, I believe it's different than every organization. Like, if you show up early, you're a good guy, and you're nasty on the field, this city will embrace you. And it happened with me because I was not a Pro Bowl player. You know, I was not I wasn't known across the United States, but here in Baltimore, just from doing things right. And what I tell the guys when I talk to them is build your own legacy. You've got all these guys you can learn from. You got all these guys that you got to watch, you know, that are Hall of Famers, but build your own legacy. You can make your own mark, and this city will embrace you.
And this city will embrace you as a broadcaster this season when you join us on the radio broadcast in the regular season. Quincy Adebojo unable to make the catch on the 3rd down pass from Josh Woodrum. What are you most looking forward to from seeing the game at this perspective? I'll give you a hint. Yeah. You don't hurt on Mondays.
It's a lot easier on the body, no doubt. I don't really know. I'm just going to get up here and have fun, and I love watching football. And one thing when I watch football is I don't always just watch the ball. I like watching what's going on with the interior line. What are the outside linebackers? What is the corner away from the ball doing? And I'd like to bring a different perspective because I feel like most fans just kind of watch the ball. But there's 22 guys on the field. or 21 guys on the field that don't have the ball in their hand, and there's a lot of things going on.
Sam Cook's punt down inside the 5. Bills offense on the field. When we come back, Jared will continue along with the Ravens and the Bills.
Ravens football is brought to you by M&T Bank, the official bank of your Baltimore Ravens. By MedStar Health, the official medical team of the Baltimore Ravens. By Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. By Verizon, the official wireless voice, internet, and cable service provider of the Baltimore Ravens. And by Advanced Business Systems, official business solutions provider to the Baltimore Ravens.
Jerry Sandusky, Brian Billick, Jared Johnson with you, live from the Verizon broadcast booth. Bills lead the Ravens 7-3. Justin Tucker's night is done. For more on that, let's go down to the field and Pete Gilbert.
Yeah, Jerry, he was dinged up a little bit making a tackle early on. They checked him out, and he's okay. Came back out in pads and would have been prepared to kick in the second quarter. But given the fact that it's the halftime, second half of a preseason game, they say, you know what, your night is done, we're going to take it safe. So Justin Tucker, like many of the vets here, have the rest of the night to enjoy some football.
All right, Pete, thank you. That means Kenny Allen will handle the kicking duties from this point forward as the Bills start inside their 5. Nathan Peterman handing off to Mike Tolbert. We'll get it out to about the 12-yard line.
Yeah, we've talked, and we're obviously in the third quarter of a preseason game, and John has taken an approach, Coach Harbaugh, of rather than typical series, quarter, half, maybe right. in a full half in the third game. This 20-20-20. Talk about as a starter, and you've been at this a long time.
Yeah.
How many snaps did you need to get ready for the season? How many did you think you need? A full game's worth, game and a half?
I would say 60 snaps across 4 games.
Right.
So you're going to get your 10, 12 snaps in your first game. You're going to gas it up a little bit more for your second game. Obviously your third game is the one where you're going to play at least to the half, maybe into the third quarter. And that usually depended on how well you're playing. But yeah, I think a good 65 snaps across 4 games is what you need.
But you were okay with not playing in the 4th game because that changed. We didn't, that changed a little bit since once you got into the league, where before you might play a series.
Right.
Now it's stars don't see the 4th game.
Yeah, I had years where we didn't even dress for the 4th game, and then my years in San Diego, and I think my early years. Well, I wouldn't start my early years with you, but there were times where you would just go out and you play a series or so. And my 3 years in San Diego, we played, at least 2 or 3 series.
Jalen Hill with another big play. Guys, what do you see from this rookie?
Yeah, just another undrafted free agent that the Ravens tend to come up with. And what I keep saying about this guy, he just seems to have a presence about him. He's in the right place at the right time doing the right thing, just like this guy to my left.
JJ, how long does it take a rookie free agent like that to win the approval of veterans in the locker room?
It doesn't take very long. I asked Eric Weddle the other day at practice, give me some young guys who you like, and he was one of the first guys he mentioned. But they pick it up super quick. If a guy can play, he can play.
It's going to be great having you with us. The regular season broadcast. Jared Johnson with us. Bills in front of the Ravens, 7-3, third quarter. Great sack made by the Ravens during the 2017 season. Constellation will send one group of students to visit the Power Up exhibit at the Maryland Science Center. To learn more, visit BaltimoreRavens.com/sacks for science. 2 sacks for the Ravens tonight, including this one by Matt Judon, who Jared Johnson had a lot of positive things to say about.
And that was a good assessment on your part about Judon, and some familiar to Jared. Jared was just so technically sound. That's the thing, because he physically, again, he wasn't an overpowering presence, but I know teams look at that and say, we're going to run at that guy. You try, because he was so technically sound. He held that edge.
Josh Woodrum on first down the seam. Vince Mealy with the reception down at the 39, but he did not hold on to the ball, and a missed opportunity for the tight end.
Yeah, those are the type of plays that, if not for the Ravens, for somebody else, show that you can make that. This is just 4 verticals going right down the seam. You're aiming from the numbers down towards the hash, bends it in. Woodrum throws it right where he belongs. It's going to be 20, 25 yards as you approach the hash. You got to come up with that one. That was put about as, if he'd have thrown it any more in front of him, the safety or that linebacker might have intercepted it.
Perfect throw, missed opportunity. 2nd and 10. Woodrum in trouble. Escapes. And gets across the 40-yard line on the scramble before DeAndre Coleman puts him to the turf. It'll be third down. With 5.5 minutes left to play, third quarter. Jerry Sandusky, Brian Billick, live from the Verizon broadcast booth on an absolutely spectacular night in Baltimore. You are living...
unbelievable.
I mean, you're living large in the Baltimore area in August when you have these kind of conditions. It's polo shirt weather. There's no humidity.
We came up the bay from an Hancock over on the Eastern Shore.
That would be the Royal We. Some of us don't own nice boats, buddy.
Flat water. It was awesome.
Some of us just have friends who have boats, and we're grateful for it. Woodrum on the scramble again. He'll slide down shy of the first down at the 45. And that'll signal the punt team and Sam Cook.
Well, we've been talking about it, for 3 weeks now, and in this 4-episode series we're doing, and we'll see a lot more of it next week. But we're now full-fledged between the end of this game and going into next week, where this is all about individual battles, and we'll try to isolate as many of those as we can. Again, not only for players that, okay, are you going to make this team, you're going to be developmental squad, but the league is watching.
Sean Ross with the fair catch at the 12-yard line. Bills ball when we get back. Still waiting for the offense to get in the end zone. Ravens trail 7-3. There was a time when you asked a player about his feed, you meant his nutritional habits. Now we're talking about a social media feed. Busy summer for Brandon Williams. Spent some time in England and London at Abbey Road Studios. He's a guy who's got a flair for music. He's a singer and a dancer. And look at his social media feed. He has had a busy summer for Brandon. He got married, then hit the Greek Isles with his wife, Alyssa. Here you can see his 1-year-old son, Nash. Brandon has a pair of boys. Don't forget the football side, making a tackle last week against the Dolphins. Hanging in the weight room with Crockett Gilmore, catching up with his former teammate Steve Smith, decked out in his Hulk shirt. That's what we mean these days, Brian, about a player's feed. Whoa. New quarterback for Bills, TJ Yates. Journeyman veteran, intercepted by Jalen Hill.
Guess who?
Hill working his way across the field to the 20-yard line. And he's run out of bounds inside the 15. Welcome to Baltimore, Jalen Hill. You've got to find a spot on a roster for a guy like that, don't you?
And again, I hope we can show this. It's great field presence. This wasn't just matching up one-on-one coverage. He knew where his assignment was. He went to that soft place in the zone. And just watch the way he gets a feel. This guy has a sixth sense for what's going on. Quarterback thinks he's safe. Now, this usually breaks down a deep ones when a quarterback can get in the back. He had a guy underneath, but he saw that the linebacker was going to buzz underneath. I'm going to run underneath this thing because I know someone's in behind me. This is a great play by a young man that seems to have just that extra sense about where to be on the field.
Gives Josh Woodrum and the offense the ball at the 15. Smoke Mizell, the lone back. Woodrum fumbles the snap and is going to be buried in the backfield back at the 21-yard line. So Jalen Hill continuing his Disney-esque storyline, but it has not been a Disney Saturday night for Josh Woodrum. Jalen Hill, if it's a Disney movie, you just make up the storyline, you throw on some music, and it's beautiful. Jalen Hill has earned it. Yeah. This is a kid who just shows up and has earned it. No other team gave him a rookie free agent tryout. The Ravens, his only option coming out of Jacksonville State. And talk about making the most out of your only option. 2nd and 16. Woodrum from the gun. Complete to the 14-yard line. Smoke Mizell with the reception. And it takes the ball out of bounds. That sets up a 3rd down and 10.
And now with a 3rd and 10, this is a learning position for the quarterback because you're obviously in field goal position. We're in the 3rd quarter, so 2 field goals wins the game. Don't get greedy. It's the old saying, it's touchdown to check down. Marty Morningwig's going to have something that puts someone into the back of the end zone fairly quickly. If it's wide open, the defense breaks down. You got the matchup you want. I'll go touchdown to check down. No, step up, find somebody underneath. Maybe they can break a tackle and get into the end zone or get a 1st down.
3 wide receivers. Woodrum with time. Pass complete. Mizell stretches. Touchdown Ravens. Taquan Mizell. And the Ravens are back in front. 15 yards, and Brian Woodrum read it just the way you said it.
Touchdown to check down. And a little bit deep for the check down, but he checked that left side. This again was that little angle route we saw them complete earlier in the game. It happened later. This was a good throw. This was a very good throw. Typically going late to something like that, not the check down in the middle of the field, that can get you in trouble. That was an outstanding throw.
And there's your two favorite stories of the summer. Jalen Hill setting up Josh Woodrum. And how about that, the extra point attempt coming from Kenny Allen.
And what happens is the young man in Jalen Hill, it starts with the defense, giving you great field position, great field awareness. Then you turn right around offensively. He was thinking, I'm going to get in. Hey, this is what we got to see. He's looking left. No. The check down is that little angle route. Safety stayed a little high. Great job by this. This is a matchup you don't want to have. Mizell just quick enough against the linebacker. That was a good series, good throw by Woodrum.
Second touchdown pass of the preseason for Josh Woodrum. And it was one summer story, handing it off to another, and then to another, because with Justin Tucker getting shaken up a little bit earlier in the game, it's Kenny Allen, who's the backup punter, who handled the extra point attempt. You've never seen a guy get as many high fives and pats on the back for kicking an extra point as Kenny Allen just did there.
Yeah, and I'd like to see more of, we talk about in the return game, and even a punt return. I don't know whether he does that, but Mizell, he's going to give you something in return game.
Kenny Allen's kick returned by Rashawn Ross. 15-yard line and wrapped out there. Chuck Clark, nope, Vince Maley makes the stop. So the Geico scoring drive, 3 plays, 15 yards. Buck 16 comes off the board, and the Ravens are back in front. So as we take a look at this running back rotation, Terrence West, Buck Allen, the veterans, Taquan Mizell in open field there, Brian, showed you something you can't teach as a coach. He showed a field awareness, understanding that in a 7-3 game, he has to break the plane. He has to get the ball in the end zone. It's a different game if he gets stopped shy of the goal line.
Yeah, and in the role that we talked about, that Danny Woodhead will see the same way. So there's some duplication there, which is great. But this is a guy, probably more than Woodhead, that you're comfortable putting in the game. And here's the importance of it. You know, you can see last season that they attempted 20 rushes or less. They're 0-5, over 20 rushes, 8-3. Which when people would show me, I'd say, great. So I just go and run the ball 25 times and I'm done, right? I can just go home. Not quite.
Bills go to the ground game. Joe Banyard with the run. He'll get it out to about the 32-yard line, a 12-yard game. But back to the idea of you don't just show up and run the ball 21 times and guarantee a win. The ability to run the ball more than 20, it's like a mathematical equation. There are other variables. What are those variables?
Well, it's the fact that you got to play good defense. In order to run the ball well, if you want to be a team that runs the ball, you got to play good defense. You know, you got New Orleans that, you know, brought in Adrian Peterson, and they're going to run the ball more. But I've seen that defense, and we're going to see it next week in New Orleans. I don't know that as much as they want to, I don't know that they're going to hold up. Well, with this defense, yeah, we're going to run the ball because there's going to be that part of the equation. Doesn't mean we're not going to get the ball down the field. And we've talked, you know, forever about what the difference is in terms of their ability to run the ball, what the ranking is. If they're, you know, outside the top 10 or 11, then they haven't made the playoffs. And if they're inside the top 15, they do. And John Harbaugh knows that. Marty Morningwig knows that. And there's a lot of different ways that that's going to look. They know, there again, a batted ball. At some point you figure out, you know, this isn't going to happen. Everybody's getting into that now. You got Bowser doing the same thing, seeing all these defensive linemen do just that.
6 batted balls, and they've been done from veterans like Suggs in his 15th year, right down to Tim Williams, who's a rookie. Dean Pease has players from all ages, all skill sets. And I think that is one of the most underappreciated aspects of what Dean Pease does, is he finds a package for everybody based on his skill set. If you make it on this team as a defensive player, you're going to make it on the field for Dean Pease. Pass is complete across the 40 to the 43-yard line as Yates threw a strike. And that time it was Brandon Riley on the reception, Trevin Wade on the tackle. But it is good for a Buffalo first down as we are now under 1:30 left in the third quarter. But you can sense the energy on the Ravens sideline changes. You know, when the veterans get done, and they really start to root for these young guys that they've spent the entire summer with in training camp. It's fun to watch them bring them into the culture the way you were talking with Jared Johnson about. Yates off the play fake, scrambling. He'll be chased out of bounds by Tyus Bowser.
Nice disciplined job by the secondary. Again, these are young players in an unfamiliar position to a certain degree. That had the classic play fake where usually there's a breakdown in coverage, and they were plastered up down the field. Quarterback had no place to go with the ball. So, you know, watch this. You're gonna see this, and this, when you see a quarterback make a play fake, this is Peyton Manning-esque, where now you kind of break, and now there's a guy deep down the field. There is a break there, the quarterback, but they respond well. They're covered on the backside, you know, and they recover. They don't quit. That corner just got beat across the field there, but he didn't quit. He got back into coverage, and that's not just a function of speed and athleticism. I used to have a DB coach, David Shaw, who played for me at Stanford,
and is now the head coach.
And that was the head coach. His dad, Willie Shaw, one of the great DB coaches in the league, always say, I don't want those fast guys. I don't want those 4-3 guys. Because when a 4-3 guy gets out of position, he gets way out of position. You know, because they're so darn fast. When you make a mistake, it's a big mistake. I need good eyes. I need someone that knows how to play the game and has a certain amount of athletic skill.
Dean Pease defense has not made many mistakes here in the preseason. The Ravens lead at 10-7 at the end of 3 quarters. A colorful night for the defense and special teams. And what a night for Jalen Hill, who comes up with a pick. Ravens head to the final quarter in front of the Bills. Sensational moment at Ravens training camp this week. Mario Moyer, a young man, received from the Make-A-Wish Foundation the dream of a lifetime. Got a chance to come into the team huddle after practice, broke down the players, played catch with Joe Flacco. He's the only person who's played catch with Joe Flacco this summer, to give you an idea of how special this young guy is. And then John Harbaugh played catch with him, and John Harbaugh caught a touchdown pass from DeMario and said, let's celebrate, and DeMario started to dance for him. I thought John was just going to crack up laughing. It was such a joyful moment to see a young boy like that come into an opportunity to have his dream come true with his heroes, and then watch the hearts of the heroes melt simultaneously. That is just, those are those special moments in the NFL that you can't put a price tag on, you can't put a TV contract on, you can't put a scheme on. You just have to enjoy it. We start the 4th quarter. Joe Banyard will get the carry for the Bills, and he won't enjoy running into that defense, as Peanut and Wasu and Willie Henry right there to bring him to the turf. And the Bills will be looking at a 2nd down and 7. Ravens in front, 10-7. Jerry Sandusky, Brian Billick live from the Verizon broadcast booth. Kamalei Correa opened up with a tackle on the opening kickoff. I haven't heard his name too much tonight. That doesn't mean he's not playing well. We'll see what he does here in the 4th quarter. Loose ball, and the Bills will fall on it. Correa was in on that previous play. That's why I brought him up. We talked in the pregame that here was a guy who the first week against the Redskins, he looked a little tentative. 2nd week against Miami, Brian, we saw a more explosive player. That's the progression for a young player, but it's not going to be linear. He's going to have his ups and his downs.
And he's settling in on a specific position. I know the coaches talked about that they had to move him around a lot last year, which was good. It was good for the learning progression, but it's hard to settle in and really get the nuance of a given position. They think the fact that he's been able to settle into that position this year has helped a lot.
Comes hard on the blitz, chases Yates out of the pocket. Yates will scramble and slide down at the 38, shy of the 1st down. An aggressive play that time, as he had a delayed blitz from Kamalei Correa, and he really came hard.
Yeah, they're going to go for it here. You know, it depends on the faith you have in Hauschka, and in a normal situation you want to create that full score separation, that touchdown separation, or at least a one score. You made it 13-7. Now field goal's not going to, or I should say, takes a touchdown to beat you, so to speak. But obviously in this situation they're going to try to see if this offense can convert on 3rd and medium.
4th and 4. The pass is almost intercepted by Peanut and Wasu. He left it on the turf, but the offense comes on as they turn it over on downs. Peanut and Wasu almost had himself a pick. He could see the sideline and room to run, but he was thinking glory before he tucked it away. Ravens ball. Ravens dominating the game statistically. They lead at 10-7. Total yards advantage 25 yards. They've held the Bills on 3rd down to only 4 conversions, and they have forced the 1 turnover. And the guy who is our advanced defensive player of the night, Brian, Any questions, Jalen Hill?
None whatsoever. This guy, he's been on the outside. He's been in on the slot. He's been in special teams. Again, just right there, just a subtle play right there. A lot of young players would have pass interfered there. He knew to undercut there, put his hands on the hip of the receiver without altering his course. Therefore, it's not a penalty. This guy just has a sense about how to play this game.
Josh Woodrum's night is apparently done as Thad Lewis comes in at quarterback for the Ravens. 7-year veteran. He'll start in the shotgun just shy of the 40-yard line. Inside handoff to Smoke Mizell, who's taken down to the 43-yard line. Of course, the pièce de résistance for Hill.
That's a veteran move. He was on the underneath route, saw what the quarterback wanted to do, almost baited him into going, yeah, throw it there, and then peeled off and came up with the interception.
Again, everything we hear from the veterans like Tony Jefferson, Hill's remarkable kind of instincts in space, his ability to play with the ball in the air. Lewis rolls out on second down, pass complete to Mizell, and Mizell out close to midfield. He'll be right at the first down marker at the 49.
Mizell continues to show that he can fill that role as a complete back and do all the things beyond out of the backfield and down the field and traps and draws that you'd expect out of the nickel package. But he's in base offense here, running the counters, running the stretch, just slipped out of the backfield there. He's showing he has the complete resume to do the job.
Good for the first down. Bobby Rainey checks into the backfield. Bills bring a blitz, and Rainey is buried under it. He'll lose a couple back to the 45-yard line. You know, we talked at the beginning of preseason about the Ravens' 13-year string of undrafted rookie free agents. We speculated on who might be the rookie who could possibly extend that to 14. Well, the narrative has evolved, Brian, to who will be the rookies. I mean, Josh Woodrum is in the mix because of the uncertainty with Joe Flacco. You might keep 3 quarterbacks for the season opening game. Jalen Hill is certainly very much in the mix. When you look at the play of Smoke Mizell, he's obviously in the mix, and on the run is Bobby Rainey, and Rainey will take it down to the Buffalo 43-yard line. But all of a sudden, you have many different players who factor into the possibility of making this roster. Not to dismiss the efforts of Bobby Rainey, a veteran who started as an undrafted rookie free agent with the Ravens.
Yeah, and a good versatile veteran, but when you have a young kid like Mizell and what he represents, and much like Bobby Rainey can, do all those roles, I got to believe that's going to be a little bit of an uphill for Bobby Rainey to make this team, because you've got a young undrafted free agent like Mizell that could fill that same role.
Larry Donnell, the tight end, goes in motion. And they give it to Mizell, and Mizell will have a first down on the run at the 40-yard line. And as we've watched preseason continue, we've seen these young players gain the confidence that they don't bring into training camp.
Yeah, we talk about, I know we're talking about Jalen Hill a great deal, but here's a young man, doesn't have a scholarship coming out into college, undrafted, has one team, the Baltimore Ravens. The mindset to come in and going, okay, I'm glad to be here, but you can't survive with that mindset. It's got to be, now, what do I have to do to make this team? And at every turn, he's taken every opportunity, and you got a lot of young players doing the same thing. I always used to tell the players the very first night of camp, guys, don't cut yourself. Okay, when it comes time, I will do that. That's my job. Regrettably, that's what you've got to do as the head coach, because you don't know what opportunity is going to present itself through a lot of things. Sometimes energy, sometimes just the opportunity to get to show what you can do. Like at Jalen Hill, Baltimore Ravens is as good as anybody with these free agents being able to make the teams, because you give them that opportunity, and the coach is doing a good job of not missing. I mean, the last thing you want to do is let talent walk away from your building because maybe they're inexperienced or they're from a smaller school. Maybe they're still a little confused. So you want to remove as much of that confusion as you can to see what do they really like as a player.
On second down and 3, Lewis off the play fake. Nice athletic move, and he will scramble for the first down and more inside the 20 before he steps out of bounds. And a late hit after a 14-yard run, and the Ravens are going to have the ball deep in the Grill Mates red zone.
Yeah, you got a little pushing and shoving going on here. They want to protect their quarterback no matter who it is. It wasn't a blatant hit out of bounds.
Late hit out of bounds. Defense number 96. Half the distance to the goal, automatic. First down.
And a good job by that. Look at it. He's just going to step up into the pocket. Watch, he makes these guys miss. And this is what you get with the athleticism. Now he just kind of turns on the jets. And good hustle, you know, on the part of the Buffalo Bills, but nothing vicious. He tried to back off, but he put his hands on him out of bounds.
As soon as a quarterback steps out of bounds, it's all hands off. The penalty puts the football inside the 10. So the Ravens deep now in the Grill Mates red zone, looking at a 1st and goal. Mizell in the backfield, Thaddeus Lewis the quarterback. And there's some adjustment to the placement of the ball. Gene Steratore will call another committee meeting, which
and then move the ball 6 inches. That's okay. That's their job.
That's where technology has to play a future role. Once you spot a penalty, it can't be old school math with fingers and toes. If it's 10 yards, it's 10 yards. Here's Mizell, big hole up the middle, spins his way down to the 1. A flag is down as Mizell to the goal line.
Holding. Offense number 76. 10-yard penalty. Replay, 1st down.
Marquise Shakir negates a slippery run for Smoke Mizell.
And you see the right tackle there. He comes up and he's having to hold this a long time. You know, all of a sudden Mizell's in the 2nd level and he got his hands inside. That was a little ticky-tack for my liking.
Now, I have a funny feeling if that's the regular season, then the coach is sending in the tape to the league office questioning that call.
Yeah, typically it needs to be on the outside when they get that call. Get your hands inside. And John's predictably unhappy about it.
As he should be. I mean, that's a good block by a young offensive tackle trying to make the team. Guard trying to make this team or somebody's team. And he picks up a penalty. Thaddeus Lewis. Slant paddle pass is complete. Quincy Adepojo down to the 12.
And you desperately want a touchdown here because you don't want, you know, just obviously for the confidence of the offense. And people are asking all the time, well, what's a win in preseason really mean? Well, okay, so you go 4-0. Well, what does that mean? Well, it means it's better than the 4 options. That's still pretty good.
Yeah.
You know, I know we're not going to write home about it, but you feel good about it, mostly because you've done some things in critical situations, and the Ravens right here with a touchdown can kind of put this thing away.
The last time Thaddeus Lewis threw a pass in the regular season, he was a member of the Buffalo Bills. I'd like to throw one here. The ground game, the sweep. Mizell fumbles the ball out of bounds. And that'll be for no gain.
He exhaled there now. That would have been tough, and he knows it.
You can do a lot of good things as a running back in the NFL, but one thing you cannot do is fumble the ball because you are instantly in the doghouse.
And it's interesting how that happens sometimes. He bounced to the outside. He's got control of it. And the leg comes up, and boy, he didn't expect that. It looked like the heel, obviously, of the fullback came up and caught him off guard.
Ricky Ortiz causing the fumble. 3rd and goal. Pocket collapsing. Lewis tries to escape, loses his footing, and he's sacked back at the 23-yard line by Ian Seau. And that will set in the kicking team, but not Justin Tucker. Instead, it will be Kenny Allen handling the field goal attempt. And this will give you an appreciation for how automatic Justin Tucker is. This is a 40-yard try. Tucker hit from 40 earlier in the game. That's an automatic for Tucker. Kenny Allen is the backup punter. Tucker took a hit to the helmet in the first half. And the Ravens want to be cautious. Tucker's praying for Allen's success. Allen's kick is up. It is good. Kenny Allen delivers from 40 yards out, and the Ravens extend their lead to 13-7. Justin Tucker is proud as a papa watching Kenny Allen deliver from 40 yards. Probably the most nervous I've ever seen Justin Tucker before a field goal.
He's fired up.
The Geico scoring drive, 10 plays, 40 yards, 6 minutes, 43 seconds, and Kenny Allen caps it with a 40-yard field goal. Keep in mind, Kenny Allen has spent training camp as the backup to Sam Cook at punter, former punter at Michigan, And you might wonder, okay, why would you even try out if Sam Cook is the punter or Justin Tucker is the kicker? It's because another team might see you do something well on tape. Last year, the Ravens had a kicker in camp named Will Lutz. He's now the regular kicker for the New Orleans Saints.
Yeah.
Stephen Hauschka tried out for the Ravens, did not make the team. Actually, he did make the team. Missed a field goal in Minnesota. No longer on the team. Stuck with the Seattle Seahawks, won a Super Bowl. So you've talked about this. Don't cut yourself.
Absolutely.
You might not make a job on this team, but if you do think well enough, somebody could see that tape.
On a team where you'd figure those starters may not kick that much, because why? Why put them in that much? And so you're going to have opportunities.
Sean Ross with a kick return for the Bills. Bottled up inside the 15-yard line. Great kick coverage. The offensive play of the game. Josh Woodrum, Smoke Mizell.
Checked on the left side, touchdown to check down. That angle route a little deeper than you'd normally get it. Caught it in just in front of the safety. That was a good late throw in the red zone by Woodrum.
You see those smiles and you see that jolt of energy after a touchdown by these young guys. You have to keep in mind they have been working at this for months. To finally get a chance to get in the end zone in an NFL game, preseason or not, that is life thrill stuff. You saw how happy Justin Tucker was for Kenny Allen to hit a 40-yard field goal. Joe bangered in the backfield. Yates' pass complete across the 20-yard line. Robertson Daniels had the coverage. It'll be good for a Bills first down with 5.5 minutes left to play here in this third preseason game. After tonight, we will not see the starters and the regulars in the final preseason game next week in New Orleans. You won't see the likes of Matt Judon. John Harbaugh will keep some of his regulars back here in Baltimore to start working on the game plan for the Cincinnati Bengals. But we will see some great job battles next Thursday night on the road in New Orleans.
With a full training camp roster, let's remind people that it's different than in years past. Typically after this game, you'd have cut down to the 75-man roster to go in to eventually break down to your 53-man roster, but they're keeping the entire camp contingent, all 90 players, which is good because as a coach it was tough, because now you don't want to play your starters, but at some point I'm running out of bodies. Now that I don't mean to put it in a personal way, but you have enough bodies to get through the game, but not to have put some of your starters in there.
Here comes the blitz pressure. Yates' pass complete to the 40-yard line. Coming down with the reception, Philly Brown. 17-yard gain and a Buffalo first down. The good news here is it's a 6-point lead. I think every coach angles not to put a game into overtime in preseason.
You do anything to avoid that.
Taiwan Jones, the back, will carry. Bounces outside to the 46, and he's flipped off his feet by Chuck Clark. Ravens fans, enter for a chance to become the Southwest Airlines Captain of the Game. BaltimoreRaven.com. And you could be on the field with the team captains for the coin toss, all in your own custom jersey, plus a whole lot more.
And let's remember, this is a short week. You know, we're playing on Thursday,
right?
And so it is a short week.
On the road.
Yeah, so that adds into it. That this cutting down from 90 to 53 is going to serve the Ravens real well.
Taiwan Jones carrying off right tackle, and he is stood up. No gain, lost a yard. Back to the 45. Tim Williams. Well, it's a young, talented pair of edge rushers the Ravens have brought in from this year's draft. Tim Williams and Tyus Bowser. Williams hobbled a little bit after that play. He'll be checked by trainer Mark Smith. Bowser has been extremely impressive. A very mature, complete player. He can rush the passer, but he's also extremely talented covering in space. Gives the Ravens a lot of young, enthusiastic energy and a very bright future on the edge. Yates in trouble, escapes, crosses midfield, and slides down the Ravens' 40-yard line. He was tracked down by Reggie Porter after a 15-yard scramble and a Bills first down.
And I imagine we're 4-down territory all the way for the Bills here, simply because one, a field goal is not going to do you any good, particularly with 2:30 on the board. Not a regular season mentality necessarily, but obviously in preseason. And I want more opportunity to see these guys in critical situations.
Part of that pass rush pressure came from Patrick Ricard, another of those rookie free agents with a great chance to make the team. Pass complete to the tight end, Logan Thomas, taken off his feet by Roberts and Daniel after a gain of 7. So you think about Patrick Ricard, Jalen Hill, Smoke Mizell, Josh Woodrum, so many players as we approach the 2-minute warning that we will be talking about next week on the road in New Orleans. These young guys, Ricard, Hill, Mizell, we thought it might be a battle for one job for an undrafted rookie free agent. It might be a lot of jobs on the line next week in New Orleans. 2 minutes to play in the 3rd preseason game. Ravens 13, Buffalo 7. Ravens fans, we encourage you to help support domestic violence victims and survivors by dropping off your used cell phones on October 26th on a Ravens Walk just prior to the Ravens Thursday night game against the Miami Dolphins. 2 minutes left to play. Ravens in front 13-7. Brian, regardless of the outcome tonight, you have to hope the Ravens' young defense can hold the Bills. But regardless of the outcome, what did you see tonight that you feel good about as we turn our attention to the preseason finale?
Well, let's go to what we wanted to get done earlier in the night. We talked about defining roles in the secondary. I think we've seen that obviously with guys like Jalen Hill. The offensive line seemed to hold up pretty good. We still haven't seen the firm starting group we're going to have, but they seem to hold pretty good against a pretty good front seven of the Buffalo Bills. Again, Ryan Mallett did a serviceable job, didn't make any big mistakes, didn't really get it down the field as much as we'd like to see. And we saw balance in the running game. So, you know, all in all, and obviously it's just, again, a dominating performance by the defense. So, all in all, it has to be a good night regardless of what happens with the score.
So a lot of check marks for John Harbaugh. And then next Thursday night on the road in New Orleans, it is full-on job battle time for the young guys trying to get those last roster spots. Joe Banyard will carry on 2nd and short. Maybe gets a yard, 2 yards to the 31. Bills have 3 timeouts remaining, clock winding. And for Dean Pease, wants to see the poise caliber now for some of the young players who are on the field, because if this is the regular season, you're asking your defense to win the game.
Yeah, and if it's 4-down territory, you know, and he's in the gun, I was going to say maybe a play fake. You'd think on a short yardage and then go vertical down the field. Looks like they're going with the 2-play mentality right now, 2 shots to try to get the first.
Yates going to the near sideline. His pass is incomplete. Well covered on the play. He was looking for Philly Brown, and Philly Brown was covered by Reggie Porter and Chuck Clark.
And they stayed with the play. A lot of young players, you know, he's beat initially off the ball, but he stayed with it. He stayed alive. Great body presence, turned to play the ball, had help coming over the top. Nice job staying with the play. It's never over till it's over. Cliche as a coach, but even though he's beat initially, stayed alive, didn't panic.
And here's your 4th down play in 4-down territory. 4th and 1, empty backfield.
Usually a lot of times you see a quick slant. Oh boy, how many times have we seen this?
Flag and a fumble, but the whistle blows before the snap was blown.
Saved him.
False start. Offense number 72. 5-yard penalty. 4th down.
Boy, talk about dodging a bullet.
Sean McDermott has to be more than a little concerned as a rookie head coach at the lack of discipline the Buffalo Bills have shown this preseason. Not lack of execution, lack of discipline, lack of lining up with the wrong plays, lack of moving on the right count.
And it becomes the elephant in the room. You know, it's okay. Don't talk about penalties because we don't want them to. That's all they're thinking about, but that's all they're thinking about.
Great 6. Yates' throw is complete at the 15-yard line. Coming down with the reception, Brandon Riley in front of Reggie Porter, and the Bills offense stays on the field with 1:11 to play, a 21-yard gain.
Good, solid coverage. That is the one route in football that, if it's thrown well, it is uncoverable. Because as a DB, you just can't play for that back shoulder throw because you're going to get beat over the top.
Ravens Game Day Network presented by Geico. Bills in the Grill Mates red zone. Yates with time. Pass complete to the 12. Ball loose. Ravens say they have it.
Wow.
It came out.
Look how excited that sideline is, too.
And
that
the
would be
Ravens
awesome.
recover.
Vintage
and
defense.
1:04 left to play. The Hayes in the barn. Peanut and Wasu coming up with the loose ball. And the Ravens' young defensive players living up to the standards of the Ravens starting defensive players. The defense secures the win. A big hit, a big play, and the Ravens will get their 3rd win in the preseason. Look at the turnover that seals the Ravens' win. Yates with the pass.
And look how many bodies are around the ball.
And it's Onwuasor not only recovers it, but causes it. Willie Henry had the initial hit, but the strip from Onwuasor. You know, Brian, when you first came into coaching, no coach in college or pros would tolerate a player trying to strip at the ball.
But that's what you do. Particularly when you play, you have, like we said, that many guys at the ball. And particularly in a situation as guys, we got to get a turnover. We can't let them have these downs and get in the end zone and lose the game. 14-13. We got to get a turnover. That's a mentality that's fostered by Dean Pease and this young defense on the field right now.
The Ravens will use a ground game with Lorenzo Taliaferro getting the carry. The Bills will take a timeout, stopping the clock with 1 minute even. What was the turning point when that started to become something that you coached instead of something you as a coach said don't even think about?
Well, I think explosive plays and turnovers. I do a thing called the toxic differential, which is the turnover differential versus the big play differential. And that's what this game's about. It used to be just turnovers, but you got to have big plays as well. Not just get big plays, but you got to, prevent the big plays. And so that is that mentality, and you have players that have more field awareness right now. Ed Reed may be the best I've ever been around in his ability to do that because turnovers are the game. And I remember in the New Orleans Saints championship run, talked about they didn't care where they ranked. It was all about put Drew Brees on a short field 1 or 2 times and we'll win every time. And that mentality. Now it's risk reward, because all of a sudden now, they're dragging for extra yards and you're giving up a lot of yards. But if indeed you can generate the turnovers, the cost-benefit ratio is in your favor.
Bills use another timeout. They're down to 1. Final minute to play. The Ravens in front 13-7. So now, Brian, as we look to this 4th preseason game, as a coaching staff, as a personnel department working under Ozzie, you pretty much know 50 players, 51 players. What do you say? 2, 3 jobs that you're not sure of, or are you just looking for confirmation on all of your hunters?
Yeah, and also but we got another how many developmental squad guys, and the decisions made. We know who our 50 of the 53 are right now, 51 of the 53. But how comfortable are we with that 52nd, 53rd man? Like we talked about, the 90 cut down to 53. What is out there? Because you have to have those discussions now. All right, your scouting staff, and Jarrett Johnson was talking about it when he was in here. It's a matter of, okay, we've got our minds on these half-dozen players. How do they stack up against the guys we have now? Are we going to will we stand pat with this guy at 52 or 53? Yes, but not if X, Y, and Z comes available. Because they've been looking at the preseason games too and seeing how those guys play. So those are some tough decisions to make. But so there's a lot to be done, not just in the Ravens game, but throughout the rest of the league in the final 4th game.
A guy like Patrick Ricard has certainly drawn a lot of attention, I would think, all around the league, as the teams that will be playing the Ravens this year now have to factor in this kid as a devastating blocker at the tight end and fullback positions. Obviously has not made the team just yet, but he's a guy you have to think, if you can play defensive line, fullback and tight end, got to find a spot for a guy like that on your roster.
And you're going to see some gamesmanship as well, because when we get into that last game, and again, we talked about 90 going to 53 instead of 75, that guys like a Ricard's a perfect example. We know there's depth in the defensive line for the Ravens. People are going to calculate, well, they got to let some of these people go. Well, no, we don't. We may keep more than we plan on keeping on the 53. Get him to the 53. Now you got to trade for him. Now we're going to make you pay the price. Now, we may eventually have to.
Sam Cook takes the punt, and he's going to run out of the back of the end zone with the safety.
Reminiscent of the Super Bowl.
Here's the difference, and it's one of the rule changes this year. In the Super Bowl, when Sam Cook did that, Jerry Rossberg instructed all of his players to intentionally hold the opponents to kill time. The game couldn't end on that penalty, They were trying to kill as much time as possible to come off the clock. This year, starting this year, if there are intentional fouls, intentional holds designed to try to kill the clock, then the time goes back to the time it was prior to the snap, and it's a penalty.
And the reason being, you're rewarding a team for committing a foul if you didn't change the rule. And that was the amazing thing in the Super Bowl, was that, and everybody did it, and it was well known, there were no flags thrown.
Right.
And there were 3 or 4 just out-and-out tackles.
Oh, yeah. You can see jerseys being pulled.
Yeah. But that notwithstanding, the league, it works very hard to make sure, and there's some subtleties like that where there were some advantages to breaking a rule. And that's what they tried to remove here.
And one of those advantages was you cannot end a game on a defensive penalty, but you can end it on a special teams penalty.
Right.
And had the Ravens run the clock out, which they were trying to do, and they could have done, actually, if they would have held longer, you could have ended the game.
And the idea is that you're not, you're going to lose the time anyway. You're not going to take the penalty because you don't want to have them have another chance. You're going to make them kick the ball.
And the Ravens used that strategy last year to secure a win when they ran out the clock with intentionally holding. So now it's going to have to rely on the athleticism of Sam Cook to try to run some time off the clock. He ran 6 seconds off on that play. And now the free kick. Puts a missile down to the 15-yard line where Rashad Ross will return across the 30. The Bills will have 32 seconds left to work with, but no timeouts.
And the good thing for Jerry Rossberg, again, as we always talk about in preseason, you got something on film, which you rarely do get that opportunity. It's a great teaching opportunity, even for the veterans who weren't in the play necessarily, to say, okay, we practiced this. Here was the idea. Here's how we execute it. And now you have it on game tape.
And so if it happens in the regular season, you've seen it before, you've done it before, and it's not a new experiment. Which I would think is as much for the coach's confidence as the players.
Sure. And I always used to tell the players.
B.J. Yates pass off the mark and incomplete.
I used to love to tell the players that. Okay, once you do it once, right, I got you. You're mine. Because I know you know. I've seen it. Okay. So if you don't do it right the next time, I know you know that I know that you can do better.
I know and you know and I know. And that is the way coaches think. Final 27 seconds. Ravens lead is 4. Yates up top, and again, good coverage by Robertson Daniel as Yates is buried by Willie Henry, one of the many defensive linemen on this team. You talked about, you looked at the Ravens defensive line, they have got the list here. I want to say 8 guys. Typically you'll keep about 5 as we take a look at all of the talent that is on the defensive line. What has most just amazed me about this defensive line group is there is not a single player on this list from Urban down to Wormley who can't play in the NFL. They all belong in this league. So if you do keep all of those players, that means you keep fewer tight ends, fewer fullbacks. Pass is complete out to the 45-yard line. Gets out of bounds with the ball, stops the clock at 17. It creates an interesting domino effect as you build your roster. But Patrick Ricard, to me, is the key in this whole list because Ricard, second to the bottom on the list, can play tight end and fullback. So that could be one guy filling 3 roles.
Knowing the way, and I'm going to have him put that list back up after this play if we have time, but knowing the need for defensive linemen in this league.
Yates way over.
Put that list back up here. I'm looking at this list as we go down through it. We talk about his trade, developmental squad, or whatever. Tell me a name on this list that is not going to be in the NFL this year.
There's none.
And you know the need. I just talked about the New Orleans Saints. They're in desperate need of defensive linemen. So all the way down the line, I got to believe this list, and the Ravens are going to try desperately to make sure that if you are going to get one of those guys, it's going to cost you something.
And I would take the conversation a step farther that every name on that list is either the quality of a starter or a future starter.
Yeah.
That's how good this defensive line is. Yates throws a strike to the 35-yard line. The tackle inbounds is Brandon Riley, and the time will expire, and that'll bring us to the end of the 3rd preseason game. Jalen Hill with the defensive play of the game as the Ravens win it 13-9 over the Buffalo Bills. Smoke Mizell with the lone touchdown in this game. And a lot of smiles for the young players like Smoke Mizell as he greets a friend of the Buffalo Bills. Now the young players like Bronson Kalfusi get to turn their attention to a full game's worth of work Thursday night on the road in New Orleans. Let's head down to the field. Pete Gilbert standing by with Jalen Hill.
Jalen Hill, a young man who just keeps making plays. Jalen, once again, you get your hands on the ball. Take me through the interception a little bit.
I rerouted the guy and sink back, and quarterback scrambled, and I had an eye of who he was throwing to, and I sunk up under and caught an interception.
Now, I want to explain to you, T.J. Yates, the man whom you intercepted, started a playoff game here in the 2011 season. He was picked off 3 times, twice by Ladarius Webb, once by Ed Reed. Now, you got him here in the same field, too. How's that feel?
It just feels good, man, to come out here and make a great play for my team in a close situation. It was amazing. It was amazing.
What was even maybe more amazing was the immediate aftermath. There's Coach Harbaugh having some fun with you. I mean, when the entire defense comes roaring over 30 yards off the bench area to come celebrate with you, what does that mean to you?
It's unexplainable, man. It's just great to be able to make a play for my team. I mean, just like that. I mean, just be here, just to be family, you know, family, and putting your back on the line for your brothers. That's what it's all about. And I'm just happy that I could be able to do it for them.
This journey then, I mean, the fact that you walk on at Jacksonville State, you're undrafted, but as I said earlier, undaunted as well. Can you sometimes take a step back and realize, here I am on the NFL stadium making plays, and if you haven't made your way into this team, I don't know how that hadn't happened.
It's just, you can't let this moment get too big for you, and I mean, it shocks me at the same time, but I mean, like I said, you can't let the moment get too big for you. You just got to come out here and just continue to go on. That was a great play, but I got to keep putting my best effort for every play.
Congratulations, Jalen. Great job again. All right, guys, we'll go ahead and send it back up to you in the booth.
Thank you, Pete. Thank you, Jalen. A smile for the ages. A young man who is making the most of the moments as the Ravens win 13-9. Post-game coverage coming your way next.